Good morning, you're welcome to News Morning here on TV3. I am Enyunam Haliga, coming up in a few minutes. Over 61,000 candidates to sit for the 2026 Technical and Vocational Education Training exams today. Also in education, double-track system in senior high school to end by 2027. That's according to President John Dramani Mahama. And much later in this bulletin, the World Health Organization warns of potential large outbreak of Ebola virus in DR Congo with significant risk of local and regional spread. We're going to a first story now where the spotlight is on Ghana as the World Health Assembly gathers on Monday for its 79th meeting on health financing, digital health and institutional accountability. With the strides made by Ghana in the recent time in health sector, there's pressure mounting from countries, global health institutions and pharmaceutical giants to gain knowledge of how Ghana has progressed in its healthcare. Over 80 side appointment for technical knowledge is being sought from Ghana's health managers as President Mahama will give the address today in Geneva, Switzerland. Here's a report from my colleague Komla Kluche.
Ghana, from the very outset of the current Mahama administration, was hit with a cut in global health funding following the withdrawal of the USAID. The world at large, especially Africa, is still recovering from the funding gap as the US has no intention of restoring it. A $100 million health budget for Ghana was thrown out of gear, but John Mahama, unrelenting, gave a dispatch with marching orders for the health minister and the sector as a whole to look within for internal funding. A summoned Africa Health Summit on financing was convened in Accra to begin the new path of non-reliance on health aid.
Health sovereignty does not mean that isolation. We need partnership, but we need partnership that makes a lot of sense. We need partnership that do not come with strings. And so he's been advocating this for some time now.
The government received world applause on its innovations as no program for the health sector is abandoned without funding. The president further continued to champion the Accra Reset agenda, which has significantly focused on the tackling of African challenges with homegrown African solutions. The World Health Organization has in the past months reposed confidence in Ghana's health sector with a robust national health insurance scheme. The Mahama Cares focused on the chronic diseases and the latest free primary health care. The World Health Organization has two committees that it revolves around that has been set in motion.
In 2024, for example, the country was able to raise not less than 9 billion Ghana cedis, and about 6 billion Ghana cedis was allocated to the expenditure of the National Health Insurance Fund. But after the uncapping, we realized that we were able to raise about 10 billion Ghana cedis. It tells you that about 3 to 4 billion more has added to the fund. And that speaks a lot. What His Excellency, the President, is saying is that, look, whatever comes in as domestic mobilization must be invested in the health sector. And that has helped us a lot.
But as the world gathered for the 79th World Health Assembly, President John Mahama will speak to the heart of health financing in Geneva, Switzerland. The World Health Assembly is the main decision-making body of the WHO and is comprised of 194 member states. At the Health Assembly, country delegates will make decisions on health goals and strategies that will guide their own public health work.
At the moment as I speak to you, we have over 80 side events. And I don't know how we're going to do them. And people are inviting us to come and speak to them on health financing, national health insurance, as we have in Ghana, Mahama Cares. They are inviting us to come and speak to universal health coverage on free primary health care, and of course, national health insurance. And then Mahama Cares also speaks to universal health care. And His Excellency, the President, has targeted Ghana to be pharmaceutical hub. And so people will want to hear about what we are doing, the strength of our FDA. At the moment, our FDA is at maturity level 3. We have the MVI, the National Vaccine Institute. And so countries will want to hear Ghana's story.
Komla Kluche, TV3 News, the World Health Organization, Geneva, Switzerland.
Now, still on the health front, the World Health Organization has declared an Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo a health emergency of international concern. The agency said the outbreak in DR Congo's eastern Ituri province, which has seen around 246 suspected cases and 80 deaths reported, does not meet the criteria of a pandemic emergency. Dr. Banda Khalifa is a member of the World Health Organization's Emergency Preparedness and Response Technical Advisory Group for African region, and he spoke to TV3.
World Health Organization considers this event serious enough. It is a bit unusual and capable of spreading beyond national borders. So it is a call for coordinated international action under the international health regulations. For global health preparedness in general, this means about 3 things. It means that countries must intensify surveillance. Laboratories must also be ready to test quickly, and regional systems must coordinate across borders in real time. Remember that there are about three Ebola viruses that have caused the largest human outbreaks. These are the Ebola virus itself, often called the Zaire Ebola virus. There's also the Sudan virus and the Budumujo virus. For the Ebola viruses caused by the Ebola virus, we have licensed vaccines and approved treatments. For the Budumujo, however, there is no currently approved vaccines or specific treatment. That means that what we have to focus on now will be the fundamentals: early case detection, safe isolation, supportive care, infection prevention, contact tracing, safe burial, and then trust within the communities.
Now, the World Health Organization has charged African countries to sustain their response to tackling HIV/AIDS. With external resources dwindling across the continent, the World Health Organization has charged member countries to commit more domestic resources. The call was made at an Executive Council election and handling over for the ceremony of the Society of AIDS in Africa.
HIV and AIDS continue to be a major health concern in Africa, but the rates of HIV and AIDS vary across Africa. The Society for AIDS in Africa is an African-led organization dedicated to combating HIV and AIDS, TB, malaria, and emerging infectious diseases through research, policy advocacy, and health system strengthening. This event is a significant step in the organization's mission to facilitate the work towards the prevention, control, and management of HIV and AIDS throughout Africa. Country Director for the World Health Organization, Dr. Fiona Braka, commended the Society for the transition process, whilst urging them to speed up the fight against HIV, TB, and malaria.
This new executive or this transition is happening at a very pivotal time when the HIV response needs to be sustained because we have not yet reached our target. But it's also happening at a time when the external resources are dwindling significantly, and so the work still continues.
President for the Society for AIDS in Africa, Dr. Richard Nchabi Kamui, said they will ensure there is no disease burden.
The only way is to make sure that there is no disease burden. Those that can be prevented, curable, eliminated, and finally eradicated.
Coordinator for the Society for AIDS in Africa, Luke Amand Bodia, said HIV and AIDS cannot be tackled in isolation.
The way forward to end AIDS from our side is to be preventive. Preventive means more education, more awareness, because you go to the street in Accra, you will not see any billboard talking about AIDS.
Away from the health sector now to education, as some 61,500 candidates across Ghana will participate in this year's Technical and Vocational Education Training Examination, which begins on Monday, May 18 and ends on Friday, June 12, 2026. Out of the total number, 59,754 candidates will sit for the certificate examination, while 1,752 candidates will write other traditional TVET examination. The Commission says the figures represent a 8.6% increase over the last year's candidature for the Certificate 2 examination. According to the TVET, 6 separate series of each serialized paper will be used this year, although all candidates will be assessed using the same standards and marking scheme. Moving on to some other stories now, as President John Dramani Mahama has announced a sweeping education reform aimed at ending the double-track system by next year through major infrastructure expansion and enhanced teacher development initiatives. Speaking at the commissioner of the Sweden-Ghana Medical Center in Greater Accra, the president announced the upgrade of 50 senior high schools and new community day schools aimed at transforming access and quality in education nationwide.
The government has secured a $300 million facility from the World Bank to upgrade 50 senior high schools nationwide under the title Transformative Secondary Education, Transformation for Access, Results and Relevance for Jobs Initiative. And so the acronym is STAR-J. It is fundamentally about promoting equity, improving quality and widening opportunities for every Ghanaian child. The STAR-J project is going to assist Ghana government achieve its target of bringing an end to double track in our secondary school system by next year. By 2027, there should be no secondary school implementing a double track system in Ghana.
Now to some political stories, as the New Patriotic Party is demanding the immediate and non-negotiable release of its incarcerated Bono Regional Chairman, Kwame Bafo, popularly known as Abronye, from BNI detention. At a media briefing, the minority leader, Alexander Penyo-Markin, argued that the basis for Abronye's detention is frivolous, describing the arrest as a state-sponsored attack aimed at intimidating the political minority.
A communicator of a party is arrested. An organizer is picked up there. A regional chairman is remanded into security remand. The message spreads quietly through every rank of the opposition. This is what dissent costs. The Mahama administration has calculated that intimidating MPP communicators and silencing its regional leadership will allow it to govern without accountability and shield its mounting incompetence from scrutiny. It will not work. We make the following demands, and they are non-negotiable. First, Mr. Kwame Bafo Abronye might be released from BNI custody immediately. His detention is constitutionally indefensible and must end today. Parliament's Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee shall, upon assumption of Parliament, be made through an application to summon the Inspector General of Police, the Director General of BNI, to publicly account for every decision taken in this matter. The Chief Justice is not also above the law. They must all be answerable. And let the majority know this. In the effort by the minority in ensuring this is done, they should not try to stampede it. It is good for democracy, and we call on the majority to support it.
A fierce crackdown on illegal fuel smuggling is underway, targeting small vessels that moved unmarked and taxed and bringing potentially dangerous petrol onto Ghana's market. The Chief Executive Officer of NPA, Godwin Ejudi Tamaklo, says the fight has now reached water's edge. My colleague Irama Smith has more in this report.
These are not ordinary fishing boats. Each one, the NPA says, is a floating illegal fuel station. They ferry unmarked petroleum from large vessels sitting on the high seas straight to local outlets, bypassing all quality checks and taxes. The authority, working with the Navy, Marine Police and Ghana Police, has impounded several of these boats, and now they are setting them on fire.
At the heart of this illegal activity is the Dende. Without it, this whole activity will be limited. You can't be using gallons to convey or discharge this product. So this one facilitates. So once you get this one done, the whole infrastructure begins to collapse.
Mr. Temeklo says the NPA has a system where every legal petroleum product is marked at the point of entry, tested for quality before it even leaves the vessel. But smugglers avoid all of that. Their product is unmarked, unchecked, and potentially adulterated. He breaks down the staggering scale of the problem.
This one alone, one can pick about a tanker that takes 54,000 liters. This one can take 2. So this 5 can take, that's about 10 trucks. So if you are doing 10, that's 540,000 liters of petroleum products, one round. And assuming that it's 540,000 liters, right? On every liter, there's 1 cedi on it. That's 540,000 Ghana cedis gone.
According to the CEO, Ghana's security services have a robust command center that tracks every bulk road vehicle. But these boats operate under the cover of darkness. He says the NPA has a simple offer. Come get a license, operate legally. But if you choose to take the law into your own hands, your boats will burn.
The economic benefit getting this thing done is huge. If you want to do petroleum activity, come to the authority. We'll give you appropriate licenses and you can engage in that enterprise. But where you want to take the law into your hands, we will not encourage any form of impunity. We will not do that. Our interest is the consumer out there. What is getting into their vehicles?
The operators are rarely caught in the act. They flee before authorities arrive. But as Mr. Temeklo puts it, destroy the tool of their trade and you destroy the trade itself. Eroma Smith, TV3 News, 2nd D.
To some entertainment stories now, as scores of enthusiastic fans gathered at the forecourt of TV3 to witness the thrilling grand finale of Perfect Match Extra Season 4. The announcement of the winning couple sparked jubilant celebration among the energized crowd inside the studio. Moments after the finale, an excited Papi and Priskari shared their joy with 3 Entertainment's Naftali Bar.
At exactly 7:30 p.m. on Saturday, Studio B of TV3 was buzzing with anticipation as fans passionately cheered for their favorite couples and made bold predictions about who deserved the crown. For the past 10 weeks, Big Mama's house has been filled with passion, heartbreak, drama and moments of self-discovery as couples battle for the ultimate prize. The night also saw couples rewarded in several categories, including Heartbreaker of the Season, Most Romantic Couple, and the fan favorite Ride or Die duo.
Miss you.
Following the emotional eviction of Ken and Ariam and Dizzy and Nadia, the competition came down to 2 final couples, Papi and Priskari, and Tyclev and Coco. After an intense and emotional 10-week journey, Papi and Priskari were crowned champions of Perfect Match Extra Season 4.
So honestly, in the beginning, coming to this show, I wouldn't say I was ready. I was in like a state of confusion and I wasn't expectant of one particular thing. But I knew and I was sure I was going to give it my all. And then that's what I did and I find my beautiful baby right here. I always tell her, baby, God's will always be done. And we are God's will, and it has been done. We run out. We run out.
What did we even do?
I don't even know. Like, I think it's grace.
It's grace. I think it's literally grace. Grace, like he found us. Like, I don't know. Grace found us.
The announcement was met with ecstatic cheers from fans, both inside and outside the studio, with many unable to contain the excitement.
They are so romantic. They are so romantic. They are energetic. I don't even know how to describe them, but we love them so much, and then we put so much effort into this, and then we are happy that they won. We made it. We voted, and our efforts are being seen. We are so happy. Thank you to TV3. Thank you to everyone who voted for Bakari. Thank you.
This is the best win. Listen, Happy and Piscari are perfect match. This is not even a joke. Like, this is not even about aesthetics. You're talking about love and perfection. Bruh! Happy and Piscari.
For the prize package, Papi and Piscari walked away with 300,000 cedis, the biggest cash prize in Ghana's reality television history.
Well, congratulations to Papi and Piscari. But that's how we end News Morning here on TV3. For more news, please check our website at 3news.com. I am Enyunam Haliga. 3 News continues.
Yeah.
So how often do you go for training?
Twice a week.
Wow.
Yes, for 45 minutes each day.
Oh, that's
Around
nice.
East Legon, yeah.
That's more like aerobics for you as well, right?
Yes. So
it's a
I'm
form of
hoping
exercise.
that my rhythms and then the steps and the moves I'll be taking will be in tune. Will sync with.
Is that what you were trying to cure?
Yeah.
Making sure that your body moves with the music.
I don't do Agbala moves.
Well, maybe I should join you as well.
Oh, but you're already.
No, I'm an expert, but just to help teach you. That's what I mean.
Great. I'll need that help.
Give me the days.
You know, sometimes you need morale.
Oh, yes.
Morale booster.
Of course. We'll start with Kakalika.
That's easy to dance.
Oh, it is? You've learned the routine?
Yeah.
I haven't. I only know this.
That one. That's the only one.
No, but there's a whole routine before you get to the kakalika.
Oh,
like there's a thing they do. They turn around.
Oh, then I need to go. Oh no.
We need to find Dope Nation wherever they are. I don't even know which part of the world they are at the moment. Whether they're in Ghana or because I know they're supposed to go on a European
tour. They posted the last week that they had a number of tours.
Yes,
I think in Europe.
Have they started?
I didn't take notice of the dates, but I'm thinking that, and they're very popular now as
well.
So I saw some of the athletes, particularly from the Ethiopian team, at the Senior Athletic Championship that was convened right here in Accra. And they were dancing after winning some medals to the Kakalika song. So it means everybody else has caught on with the craze.
Do we get commission for anybody who's non-Ghanaian who dances to Kakalika? They have to pay us for it.
That commission should go to the artists in the form of royalties.
Oh, but we helped them to get big. We supported Dope Nation. So the commission comes to us too.
Yeah, certainly.
But I think they're doing a fantastic job.
Yeah,
I'm happy that their song has
All of you, thank you for joining us for the show. We're grateful that you've made your time. Pai Fianco, you work with engineers and planners. Good morning to you. Chairman Prosper, as well as Godwin Tamaklo, Group Chairman for the RAID Group. Good morning to you. Dr. Yayira Tenge is with Ghana Military Academy. Been a while, I've said hi. So I said, and the Lydia Nyaba with the Ghana National Association of Teachers and everybody else who tend to watch us. We're always grateful. Robert Coleman, Group Chief Executive for Wembley Sports Construction Company Limited, also says that you're looking exquisite.
Thank you, Robert. Good morning to you.
Says that the call never came. So he understands.
Robert is in Quench.
But how was your weekend as well?
It was great. I met my team to plan for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And I tried to get some rest, but that didn't happen. But it is well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You'll be starting recordings very soon for the day show.
Yes.
All right. Okay,
well, we've started for the top in 10 for now, and so we're planning for the rest of the other shows as well. How was your weekend?
Oh, it was okay.
Yeah.
Topsy-turvy, you know.
Okay. You're busy?
Yeah. You know. It happens. So we'll take the first day of the week as it has to be.
Exactly.
One day at a time.
Exactly. I like what you're wearing, by the way.
No,
I think the color really suits you.
Yeah, I think so.
It's beautiful.
I always love blue. All shades of blue. Not particularly the sea blue, though, but it's okay.
But all shades of blue, yes.
It's nice.
It's nice.
Thank you.
I like it.
Thank you. And so we're going to have some great conversation this morning. You know that the IMF conversations had been on over the weekend, but really the conversation about what we've signed on, that's the PCI, what also does it mean? We're not getting monetary value for this, but we're told that apparently we're going to get some policy credibility for this.
Okay.
It also means that for our expenditures and then the target that we have to meet, they have to be within those targets that the IMF has set. And it's what has kept us in check when it comes to the expenditure pattern over the last, I say 1 year and then 5 months as well. And that's what the finance minister. But what also could it be incrementally the effect for the livelihoods of the ordinary Ghanaian? Because the perception out there is that once you're out of the IMF, even though this is non-monetary by way of the value of the receipts you'll be getting, it means you can do everything. No. So what does it mean? So we need to discuss that.
Exactly.
Yeah, because many people think that, Charlie, right now it's going to rain heaven.
Well,
there'll be free this, free that. But I think the expenditure pattern, when it's kept in check, is the best way.
Exactly. And we need to make sure not to repeat certain mistakes that we've made in the past, so we don't find ourselves back at square one. So I'm looking forward to what the plan is moving forward. And so let's see how that goes. But who are joining you for the conversation?
Well, so we're going to have Dr. Bernard Tutu Boahing.
Okay.
He's a regular for a Monday conversation. Eduji Tamaklo is coming as well. And then, of course, we have lawyer Pierre Dankwa, who will be joining us for the conversation.
Of late, he's been very heated.
Yeah.
On the morning show.
Yeah, I tell you.
I don't know who's getting him upset.
Yeah, but yeah. So, and then Professor of Economics, Professor Korte, will be joining us from the University Ghana Economics Department.
Nice.
He has there, so
And definitely a rep from the NPP, I believe?
Yes, we also have a rep from the NPP as well. So
All
we're going to have, I believe, a very salient and then educational conversation. It's something that we all need to have within all that has been happening totally, etc. So we'll try as much as possible to be having a tap on all that's happening as well. Okay.
Well, beyond that as well, of course, yesterday or Saturday night, we had the grand finale of PM Extra. And it was a big deal, especially for the winners as well, Priskari and Papi. And I heard Priskari asking, what did we do in the house that made us win? It's like she was confused. She didn't understand how they won. But congratulations to them. We'll be speaking to them. And of course, to the first runners-up, Coco and Tycliffe. We'll be finding out what the plans are moving forward. I mean, if you follow the trajectory of PM Extra winners, you'd realize that their fans go all out for them.
Yes.
From renting homes to buying cars to, securing their future one way or the other. And so we're looking forward to what the fans have for them, but most importantly, what they have for each other, because we're hoping that the relationship lasts. That's also one aspect of the conversation that hasn't gone too well. But this time around, I hope it goes.
Yeah, I think for all shows of such a nature, usually. But we'll see how it goes. I think that it's not about the longevity of that relationship. It's not about only the longevity. It's about how, at the beginning or the formative stages, when they leave the house, they're able to portray themselves as good inmates of the house, and then also as good brands for themselves. Because people tend to use them as role models as well. And so, at least for the formative period, when you leave, you need to toe the line a bit and try to create that scenery, and then also ooze that when it comes to the optics.
Well, I mean, and also for their individual brands as well. I remember Gracie from the first season. She's been able to build a beauty brand out of it. Her partner then also had a fashion brand that he's been focusing on. Then we have the last season winners as well, also building their individual brands. So beyond being together, what are you doing individually as well to hone your talent and your skills? And for me, that's also very important. So I hope that you are not lost in the bubble of, it's love and love and love. After love, what will you eat? Think about it. It's important. But also...
I love this one.
After love, what will you eat?
After love, what you go chop?
What you go chop?
If you love, you go chop.
I'm not going to use love pay bills, Charlie. But this morning, we're having a very important conversation. Over the years, in fact, in the last maybe 2 years or so, we've seen a number of Ghanaians picked up by the FBI, or at least by the police here in Ghana, and sent over to the United States for being cited in cyber fraud cases, romance scam, and all
money
that.
Laundering.
And it's becoming
Those
a worrying
are the 3 big
trend.
charges usually.
It's becoming a worrying trend because we know what it did to the image of Nigeria. Because for a long time, even if you met a Nigerian, the first thing that came to mind for a lot of people was, oh, you are from that country that is involved in this. And they also face sanctions from the US government as well. And now we're seeing a lot of Ghanaians also being cited for that, being picked up. Just last week, there were a number of Ghanaians that were also arrested. We saw the charge sheet, etc. As well. So we're asking a very important question. What is going wrong in our society? And eventually, how does this also affect the image of Ghana? Because for a long time, we tried to build this image of peace, of loving people, all of that. And now we're having young people and older people all involved in this kind of situation.
I have a varied or maybe a different approach so far, or my opinion. I feel that it also shows how well our security institutions are, for the better part of the narrative or conversation, able to collaborate with agencies like the FBI, etc., to ensure there's law enforcement when it comes to some of these charges and so-called alleged crimes that are committed by this individual. And herein, let me say good morning to you, COP Emmanuel Kujo. He is Director of Operation Ghana Police Service. They do some great work. And currently, if you see how they have visibility on the ground, it's also because apart from the IGP, Yohuno, we also have COP Emmanuel Kujo, Director of Operations, making sure that they are on ground. They do the intelligence picking, they do the collaboration, because it's very important.
It is.
Because we don't have to think that we are living in a bubble. However people make their money, and we have other individuals, ordinary citizens of perhaps the West or other countries being affected, it also means that that is where the negative image is created. Rather, when we have these kind of exercises being undertaken where individuals are picked up, it also shows that we're ready to sanitize our environment
system,
because once they don't get the victims out there, the next part is that they'll be coming to those who are in country or elsewhere in other African countries because it's a skill they have acquired where they get to communicate with you. They create that relationship as if it's a real relationship. And then they get to scam you. And then how the money is landed, if it's even in country, it's even worse because that makes it easier. And so I have a varied view on that. Of course, we can talk about the reasons they usually give, especially the Nigerians and then the Ghanaians now in tow, is the fact that we have slave trade and all that.
So it's an attempt to take back.
But it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, I'm sorry. But, and again, I think that we should also extend the conversation to the rest of us. Because for a long time, we've been celebrating wealth without asking questions. And so someone has so much money and suddenly that person is the boss of all people. And everywhere they go, they get the salute. If they're driving really nice cars, they get the best parking spots. And it's one of the things that we need to really look at because are we also celebrating wealth without asking the real questions? And the 2432 also said that recently, I saw a post on the 1957 where he said, do not admire wealth without asking how it was made. We're not asking the questions. And so it makes it easy for anyone to think that, okay, let me do whatever I can to become rich. After all, I'm going to be celebrated anyway. And people are not going to ask questions. So do we also take part of the blame for what is happening amongst our young people at this point? So much so that they'll do anything and everything just to make money, even if it means killing someone. Because for me, if you engage in romance scam and cyber fraud, as far as I'm concerned, you are literally killing the person because you rob them of their lifetime earnings. They could fall sick, they could die. And that could be on you.
And there are documentaries out there that's been done by CBS, BBC, CNN, etc., where the victims virtually get all their life savings taken away. And that's the story, or these are the stories that are not told to us because the human interest and the human angle is very important. And usually you will find that the monies are from victims who have saved as a lifetime maybe nest egg or savings for that part of their life towards the end of their livelihood. And they want to have some level of enjoyment before they leave Earth. And all of a sudden, we have young people who are adept at creating those false narratives as well as identities. They create the relationships and then they take the money. And they do it without any emotion. And those who celebrate them, you can celebrate them for how they do the displays, but the reality is, what's the source? What's the source, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And so we'll give you some more information on that and we'll activate the phone line so you can call us and share your opinion on this very topic. And beyond that as well, we'll be speaking to a cybercrime, consultants to find out exactly how this affects the image of Ghana as well, in Africa, in actual fact. Because now they're blacklisting everybody.
Okay, so now it's Ghana, Nigeria.
Why should it be Ghana?
No, but Nigeria, they are cousins. So once Nigeria did them, Ghana join. Then and all of them today around East Legon. So it be.
It's really
when I see the Lamborghinis and things, I tend to enjoy the sights. It's not a funny thing though, but I mean,
it's really sad.
Anyway, so we also have cash out goes with a short code *439#. This is what you need to do. Choose option 2 as many times as you can. Increase the number of tickets you have. Become one of those lucky winners when the draw is undertaken. And I tell you that you will ultimately enjoy it when we do the draws, and then you become lucky as well. I have a couple of you who have already joined us. We're grateful across our stream. Please make sure that you share in the conversation. We're discussing romance scams, money laundering, and all those. But we're looking at this conversation. We've had this phenomenon where we've had the FBI, whether it's the MI6 or any of those agencies as well, or MI5, they tend to collaborate with whether it's the Ghana Police Service, etc. And they picked up, individuals who were told allegedly commit crimes of either scamming people, money laundering, etc. But the question is, why should we be having that not having a recourse to our own institutions, and then we are informed as well. But what do you make of it generally? You know, fraudsters, romance scams, etc. It's up next for our This Morning segment.
You're welcome back, and of course this is TV3 Newday. It's time for This Morning, and we're going to be giving you some details from the U.S. Attorney's Office, Northern District of Ohio, where they have listed some Ghanaians who are cited in various cases of cybercrime and romance scam. And this was released just 4 days ago. And we're not only focusing on that, because even prior to that, we've seen some Ghanaians being picked up right here in Ghana and sent over to the United States to face trial. And that has become a worrying trend. And so we're asking you what you make of this, and do you think that this to a large extent affects the image of Ghana? Roland is on standby. He's going to read through that document to give us further details.
Find that when it comes to the Department of Justice of the United States of America, they tend to publish on their site. And that's the thing I love about the Western countries. They tend to, nothing to hide. Yeah. So once they do the arrests, they do their verifications, and then they do the publications once the charges are leveled or filed on those individuals. And subsequently, the pattern has been for romance scams, criminal pattern targeting older Americans usually, or those in the West, because it's happened to Australians as well, New Zealanders, and then also the British as well. So you'll find that usually we have 2 brothers from Ghana and a woman from the US. Now we're told they have been indicted for being part of a criminal network. And what they do is that they do the tracing. They also make sure that they have the right sort of individuals within the tracing ambit. And then when they arrest one, they pick up everybody else. And then sometimes they plea bargain as well. And then we saw that subsequently an indictment was recently unsealed in the US. And this one was against an individual called Jamal Abubakar, as well as others as well. And they also charged the following individuals with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and money laundering. And apart from Jamal, we have Kamal Abubakar, and they are known on social media, according to what we've now verified as arrangements. And then subsequently Lancaster, not the hotel, Lancaster. And then they have Amanda Joy Opoku-Boachi, called Amanda Joy Glam, or Amanda Joy Berman, who is 53. And all 3 defendants were told were arrested in Virginia. They currently remain in custody, and this will be in federance to court proceedings subsequently. A series of cases related to this matter have also had individuals charged with conspiracy, all tied to Ghana, and the victims are all elderly men or women who have been assigned to one U.S. District Court judge to coordinate proceedings as well. And for this particular one, we have many defendants in those matters also are pending trial sentencing. 9 defendants have already pleaded guilty and been collectively sentenced to approximately concurrent terms of 50 years imprisonment. And what they do is that they plea bargain, and so it means that so we have in the U.S., for example, Frederick Kumi, Emmanuel Kojo-Ban-Oting, known as Abutrika. That charge is waiting for him. He currently has been given bail in the Ghana court. And then also he's alongside his accomplice Daniel Yusuf, Denteni, a.k.a. Slap, Kumi, also 31 of Sredro, Ghana, and then Yusuf, 31 of Accra, Ghana. All of them were charged in December with a conspiracy to commit wire fraud and money laundering conspiracy as well. And then we have another one. This one, David Onyinye Abuanuku and others. And these are the individual same offenses And the accomplices or others also charged in this case are Dwayne Asafweje, who is a 29-year-old, sentenced to 71 months of imprisonment, 3 years of supervised release, and ordered to pay some $372,000 in excess in restitution. We have Nancy Adom, who is just 30, of Columbus, Ohio, sentenced to 71 months of imprisonment, 3 years of supervised release as well. We have 46-year-old Ghanaian, but is of U.S. citizenship, Eric Edu, and in order to pay $68,000 in excess as well. And usually, the individuals who live in the U.S. are those who receive the amounts in their account, so they become abettors and then conspirators as well. Individuals like Otu Amponsa, a 34-year-old who lives in Columbus, Ohio. I don't know, that's Ohio.
Yeah, it's like a ring.
Yeah, Portia, there's Portia too as well. And then Anna Amponsa, all of them Columbus, Ohio. And you know, for Portia, you go back, Portia is supposed to pay in excess of $1.4 million. And
Portia is supposed to pay
Anna
2.35.
Anna Amponsa is supposed to pay 1.4, and then Portia is supposed to pay $2.035 million. Yes, and then Utu Amponsa is supposed to pay $3.32 million. And all stems from the period of the receipts or the accounts being credited with the proceeds of the scams as well as the fraud, and so to speak. And you know, you find that there's a pattern, I think, since Hajia For Real was arrested and then subsequently served or detained. However, you'll find that there's a subsequent chain of events where individuals within that East Legon ring or those who tend to play around that stink, so to speak, seem to have been picked up. And so once the latest is picked up, the conspiracy we can draw is that maybe they're also going to talk in that loose term, and it also means that individuals could be targeted if you are within their friendship of circle, so to speak.
So is it that they're targeting the kingpin necessarily?
So usually, for a lot of these people, so usually the West or the US, that's how they tend to deal with organized crime. So if you take examples of how they've been able to deal with, if it's the narcotics trade, especially along their borders, Mexico, Colombia, Bolivia, etc.
There's a main target.
Yes. So they can trace you for a number of years. If you take an example, Erica Moating, a former member of parliament within the Kufuor administration, that period, he was a member of parliament. Erica Moa was traced. We had videos of him. The FBI had videos of him offloading, you know, the contraband goods, so to speak, from garages in the US, etc. And so by the time he was arrested, they had verifiable evidence that he has submitted as exhibits.
Well, on that note, before we even activate the phone lines, let's speak to Professor Daniel Draman Kipo. He's an international relations expert, and he will tell us a bit more about what he makes of this situation and how that affects the image of Ghana. Good morning, Prof. Hello, Prof. Can you hear me? Hello, Prof. Good morning. Prof, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you. Good morning to dear listeners and viewers.
Yes, indeed.
Now, it is a very unfortunate situation that Ghanaian citizens are caught up in this scam of wire fraud. That does not speak well of our country. Because Ghana could be blacklisted or Ghana could be part of those countries that are engaged in fraud. And in that case, our country reputation could be questioned. That's also notwithstanding, I think we will have to commend United States for their law enforcement agencies, their criminal investigation organizations and agencies for doing a good job being able to, no matter how long crime takes, they are able to investigate, get to the victims. And these are elderly people who are very vulnerable. And so if they have suffered any form of financial loss, it is the responsibility of the American state to to bring justice to their citizens who have been victimized, who have become victims of fraud. So in that case, America as a country, I would say they have done a good job. Ghana also as a small state, I think that it should be a good lesson for us as a country that we have to tighten our security. And fortunately for us, we have the Cyber Authority who are doing a fantastic job. They need to be able to work harder, share information with National Investigation Bureau and all their agencies, Signal Bureau and all this things, so that they can also be able to pick up some of these Ghanaian citizens, so that if we're able to block them, and that could also save the country from further embarrassment. So I think that Ghana, we should not take over. We have quite a number of people called the Sakawa boys and girls or whatever. All these prospects, we should not give them a very good environment to operate. And I think that our cybersecurity agencies should be up and doing, so that we can get these people even arrested here in Ghana before it becomes international issue. It is not good for us, but at the same time.
So that's the concern that's the concern that many people have. They're asking questions as to why we have to wait for the FBI, in the United States to even issue these warrants before we pick up our own people here. Does it mean that our security agencies on their own are not able to identify some of these issues right here before they're even alerted?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That I'm sure our country also, they are able to pick some of these signals, but maybe the funds, the agency to act could be the question. And for the developed countries, they are very serious, they effect arrest. So I think that's why I said that our cybersecurity agency and the National Investigation Authority and all the security, the Ghana Police Service, UECO and all these agencies, they need to be up and doing, so that we will arrest our own people and let them face the law. So that when we do that, the outside can see that Ghana is actually a very serious country, because if you engage in financial fraud, wire fraud, all these cyber crimes, you are picked up here in Ghana. And that will be a plus for us. We should not be waiting for American ABI or American agencies to give us warrants before we effect the arrest. We should be able to do it here, pick them. There are so many scammers here, even our banks. Our money in the bank, they have been making every way to pick them. And I think that we should be up and doing. This is a good lesson for our law enforcement agencies to share their intelligence, security corporates, and apprehend these Ghanaians who are doing it, so that Ghana will not be blacklisted.
But does it sometimes... Sorry to cut you, but does it sometimes cross your mind that the reason why a number of them are not necessarily picked up here is because there could be a deliberate cover-up? First of all, to protect our image, and secondly, because some of these individuals who are involved in crime may be connected to the upper echelons in society, and so they sort of have their way around the security agencies?
But that should not be the way. All citizens are equal before the law. We wouldn't say that because these people have financial, they have financial muscles, and that is where we become weak. I believe that, as I said it, our agencies are able to detect some of these things, but they are very slow to act. And this should be an opportunity for them to step up. Immediately take the signals, start their investigation, share intelligence, and effect arrest. So if all this group of Ghanaians, numbering so many of them, if Ghana had picked them up, I think America would have appreciated Ghana, that Ghana is doing very well by taking their people. The amount of money that lands into our bank accounts, and I think that the bank should have a signal that is able to alert the authorities. This person has received 75 million, 70,000, certain amount of money. If it hits into your account, it should be a point of investigation. So I think that we need to get our banks in the developed areas, in the developed countries. If money enters your account and it's huge, investigation is commenced. They will start tracing how are you earning the money. If you have received $100,000 in your account, how did you get the money? So our banks should be up and give the signal to the various authorities, and then they look into it. Why is this person in Ghana and this amount of money is entering the bank account? These are very things that they can easily pick up. And if you get into the person and see that they don't earn such money, it becomes questionable. Maybe they engage in money laundering. Maybe they engage in drugs. Maybe they engage in social network frauds, scams, online scams, victims. So we should be able to pick them up. I believe that Ghana is capable, so that we can save our country. We must not say because we do not want to embarrass our country. It is better you arrest and deal with it than for somebody to come in and ask that we should extradite our citizens. Let us, Ghana is capable. And I encourage the Ghanaian authorities, our intelligence agencies to share and act swiftly so that we can pick up these people from our system. Because
It's interesting that you say that, because, again, we've seen how a number of people have been invited for questioning, picked up to be arranged before court, and you see the people who support them throng the venue, whether it's where the detention center or the courts, demanding their release and accusing whatever government is in power of not creating enough jobs for young people, which is why they are forced to engage in such crimes. How do you address this issue? Prof, are you there? Prof, are you there? It looks like we've lost him. We'll try and raise him back on the line to see if he can respond to this as well. But that's also one of the complaints that, of course, we've had from young people as well. But we'll try and raise Prof again on the line. We still have a few questions, but we have some more statistics for you with regards to... Oh, Prof is back. Hello, Prof. Prof, are you there? It looks like we're having challenges this morning trying to connect with Professor. So we'll just go back to the statistics with regards to cybercrime in Ghana and in the US as well. And then after that, we'll continue the conversation.
Okay, for the US, they have the total cybercrime statistics, and not necessarily from Ghana, where we have the individuals perpetrating this, but also all over. And mind you, they get complaints and individual perpetrating this, even sometimes from India, they have it from Latin America, and then they have from Africa as well. And when it comes to Africa, the main areas, epicenters are Nigeria, Ghana, West Africa generally. And so far, they've what we've picked up for 2024 are total complaints, 859,532. And so that's what we have currently. And these involve a number of individuals totally across the world. But you'll find how they tilt towards Africa, the more developing continent, so to speak, and then part of Asia as well. And it's a big problem. And when we're talking the total losses, at least not only to the government of the United States, but to those individuals as well, it's totaling 16.6 billion. So it's a whole industry on its own. And the US actually, if you look at the literature and then what has been published by some of the experts, they are playing catch up even though they tend to effect their arrests, etc. That's why they go the length of time to be able to pick focal people. For if it's a leading politician, a leading socialite, etc., then they know that when they pick you, then they then will set the right example. But even before they do the pickup, they do the tracing and they make sure that everybody's in the loop. So once they pick the person up, they know so what the pattern has been is that if it's Roland who is picked up, it means that a number of his friends within his sting or network will be picked up. I mean, that's the clue. Once one person is picked, you know that a number of his associates will be picked. And that's how the US has always, when it comes to their counterintelligence activity, that's how they've always operated. Whether it's for now we have romance, scam, money laundering, and then when they were doing the narcotics trade, that's what they did as well. And then the increase in losses from 2023, they had 33% increment in the numbers as well. And so what we are having representing for that 16 billion is a 33% increment from what they recorded by way of the quantum of losses, monetary value from 2023. And that's huge. And the complaints involve actual financial loss. And then we're having the numbers, the individual cases being 256,000 in excess.
In just 2024?
In just 2024. The complaints involved, of the individual complaints. So you get complaint 1, complaint 2. And mind you, there are individuals who also don't tend to report us at all.
So you can imagine.
And they have a whole desk that has been set up for this as well. So they have the time for you. And they'll listen to you, they'll pick up as much info just to make sure that when they are getting the sting operation undertaken, they pick one individual and everybody is picked up along the line. Then they go to the next one. So a number of individuals would have been. What also has been, we're finding out is that the average loss per incident is about $19,000 US dollars. But we've had others who have lost millions as well. They're able to do these transfers, this is easier to do electronic transfer. They're able to do that as well. They also then do diversions. When we did the research into cryptocurrency as well. So they'll pick the money electronically, transfer it, and then they put it into crypto so you cannot trace it. And then you can use those to and then ultimately what they do is some of them become politicians, some of them become socialites or entertainment people, and that's how they set up to be able to clean the money, so to speak, as we say in local parlance.
And we celebrate them.
Yeah.
Once they have all the money, it's so easy for them to get into, the corners in society and make decisions for us. And we tend to celebrate them so easily. But we have a caller on the line. We'd like to hear from you. And so the phone lines have been activated. You can also start dialing the numbers now so you can speak to us. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my sister.
Good morning. Good to hear from you.
Please, my name is Babakatan. I'm calling from the Cybercrime constituency.
All right. Please talk to us.
Thank you, my sister. Because of love your political program this morning, day morning duty. I don't go to the television because of that. I need to feel you. If you can please me, which topic you are speaking this morning?
I'm not really hearing you, so I can't follow.
Okay, yeah. I'm here morning duty because I love your program. That's why I'm calling this
Thank
morning.
you. Thank you very much. But please speak to the topic, that we're discussing at this point when you call. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. You can also call in as well and share with us what your thoughts are on this matter. How bad is the situation and how bad is our image on the international front? I wish Prof was on the line so we could ask him that question, but I think we have another caller. Hello?
Good morning, madam.
Good morning, sir. Talk to us. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Wali Wali. My name is Sani.
Carry on, please.
Okay. I think that, like Roland said, this one we need to look at it very careful, without blaming the US. Too much. Because maybe they are trying to help us. Because we live in a society, and then sometimes we see people amassing wealth. That is very, very questionable. You don't know the kind of work that they do. And then before you realize they are building, some kind of building that you, the person who is working, you have been in work for 15, 20 years. You are struggling to even get, 3 rooms. And they are buying cars, very luxurious. Okay? Then you don't see their source of income. You understand? So sometimes all these people, they engage in what they are accusing them of, right? And then you see society is also, as it were, respecting those people. Do you understand? So they are doing well, but they should try and apprehend them. Because when they don't do that, they will turn back to us. That is why you go to local, village that you go today, you see people say they are scammers. And to the extent that you are even teaching children, you ask them the kind of personality or profession that they want to do in future. And then some of the children will boldly tell you that they want to be scammers. Do you understand? Because that they see that these people, as it were, they lead very, very good life. They do a lot of things. They go to shows and splash money from people. Like them, they don't want to work in future. So I think that is good. Only that America, because we hate them, sometimes they don't do the right thing. Even when they are doing the right thing, we don't want to commend them. But this one, they let us commend them because they are trying to get rid these people out of the society. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And you can also call in as well. At the same time, we'll be reading some messages on social media. I think we have another caller.
Okay. Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling us from?
Yeah, hello. My name is Jerry from Nungwa Barrier.
Yes, sir.
I'm very grateful for the opportunity this morning. But this is an eye-opener for all of us and as a country. You see, there are a lot of things going on that Ghanaian society know, but maybe the security agencies in Ghana have not been given that
a broader opportunity or a chance to actually prosecute people or help in prosecution. You see child trafficking, you see drug abuse, you see all these things, and then they live amongst us, and we are not able to talk about it. So you see that the youth of today, some of us, we give each other unnecessary pressure. You see one person driving cars and changing cars and changing cars, and then it's as if you have not been able to make it in life because you are trying to do the right thing. People are involved in so many things in this country, and the government, I commend the government of the day for the transparency and all the things that is going on so that we can actually deal with it and nip it in the bud. They live among us, and they are causing a whole lot. People get rich overnight, and nobody asks them any question. Nobody asks them any question. So they feel proud and they continue to do it. But people must be called to account for what they have. You see a young boy riding this Highlander new series, changing up and down. And then people think they are successful because all they care is that the person has made it. How have you made it? I know that in some countries like Togo, even Togo here, other countries, if you are even riding some car that is so much above, some people are richer than even the state per the car they use and how they do their things. Someone can do a birthday party and then the whole stadium will be filled. And cars that will, you can go to East Legon and look at some of it. Where are they getting all this money from? What do you do? I'm very grateful this morning, and I'm very impressed that the U.S. have done this. It's an eye-opener for the country. We should wake up and we should sanitize the system and we should make the youth work. Because in this world of work, we work and we invest. And out of that, we become richer, or we do what we call a meaningful living. So you can't live anyhow and think that you are okay. Thank you very much.
All right, so we have to read a couple of messages. This one is coming from TMK. TMK says that, please, the reason our officers don't pick these people up is because their salaries are not good enough. And these cybercrime guys pay their way out and are left off the hook. Pay our people well, and they will even go further and bring them out from their bedrooms. Classical example is our narcotics people at the ports. Are now tracking the narcotics in tipper trucks. Really?
Tipper truck?
And this person is a security person. Okay. All right. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. And then let me also read this one coming from Bunti Benjamin. Bunti Benjamin, good morning to you. He says that the fight will not be easy, but at least we can start from somewhere by allowing the necessary agencies to get to work without fear or favor. Ghana deserves better. And then we have Master Planner Jr. says that, look, it's not easy. I was in Holland yesterday. Master Planner, you're in Holland. Good morning to you. Sent by Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. I was in Holland yesterday at the Schiphol airport, and the immigration and security procedures there were not easy. I'm currently in Germany, and says that he's watching with Commander Chris, Nana Lloyd, and Commander Mandela. That's Master Planner Jr. Zakaria. And we have Sherry Giovanni. Sherry Giovanni said the cyber fraud syndicate involving Ghanaians isn't good for the image of Ghana. I will blame it on the authorities. We have failed to do lifestyle and individual audits, and then for audits, and for individuals who live suspicious lifestyles. They flaunt their ill-gotten wealth on social media without being questioned where and how they got their properties as well as their wealth. And then Erickson MK says that every facet of our lives we're wallowing in a cesspool of moral decadence, and no one seems to care who. Today, glitters are celebrated without questioning, and today's young men want to belong to the table of the wealthy. All right.
Just quick one as well. Gubila, he's been sending this message currently on social media, so I have to read it. Good morning, Paparo and Bella. Cybercrime in Ghana has become a lifestyle for the youth. It's because we are not serious as a country. If not, If not, these boys should be picked on a daily basis to serve as a deterrent to others. Everyone knows at least someone who deals in cybercrime. What are we doing as a country? I don't know if you want to generalize that statement, though. But innocent individuals are scammed every day. Until we build our mindset when this together and the politicians are not left out. Okay. Kwekwafu says that the security should look at the loan apps as well. Most of them are also scammers. In fact, the mobile money scammers, we are seeing it right here in our faces, and they're doing it to us every single day. ASEAN says our education is bereft of honesty and empathy. For patriotism is now a thing of the past. Mind you, crime is always a step ahead of detection. Our Ghanaian passport and our Ghana card are too easy to acquire by foreign nationals. After they acquire a passport, then they use it for fraud and scam. Authorities must do a thorough check before issuing a passport or Ghana card to people. This act of fraud is bringing a bad name to our country. Very valid points, but it doesn't mean that Ghanaians are also not involved in cybercrime as well. We've seen people who have not denounced their citizenship, or we haven't had issues come out indicating that they are not originally Ghanaians. So that means that they are involved. And we have to deal with that.
Majina has sent this one. Majina says that the increasing number of young Ghanaians being arrested abroad, especially by the FBI over cybercrime and internet fraud, should be a big red flag for all of us. This issue is not only affecting those involved, but also damaging Ghana's image internationally, and continues that young people are talented and capable of achieving greatness through legitimate means, and believes that Ghana's future must be built on honesty, among many others. And then Ralph also sends, Ralph of Arise Ghana says, I'm currently observing the show, and I'd like to inquire as to why people express significant concern regarding young individuals accumulating wealth overnight, yet fail to pose the same inquiry to politicians who assume office and rapidly accumulate millions, purchasing luxury vehicles and real estate within a remarkable short period of time, specifically within 1 year. Okay. And that we should hold politicians to account as well. All right. Well, that's fine. All right.
That's all time will allow for now, at least for this morning's conversation. But keep it going on social media as well. We'd like to continue hearing from you. And after this break, Papa Ro is going to come your way with a big issue conversation. We're talking about IMF.
Yes, post-IMF.
Post-IMF.
Our post-IMF conversations.
Yes.
The one that's without monetary value.
No kinky party today.
Yeah. Oh.
Just checking.
So, I thought the finance minister decided not to do kinky party.
I see.
Man,
or maybe you'll be watching.
The man said, you go see him say he had.
Perk up your day the Milky Way with the rich, smooth taste of Perk milk shortcake. It is pure delight. So make sure to have some with your morning tea. Try it with cocoa. Let me know what you make of that combination as well. They say combination is a calculation, right? So calculate well and let us know. But on that note, we'll take a quick break. And when we get back, Papa Ro takes over. But remember, we also have the winners of PM Extra joining us, Papi and Priskari. So we'll be speaking to them much later.
Well, thank you for joining us, and I hope you did enjoy that educative part of this morning segment where we talked about the cybercrime as well as money laundering and then romance schemes that we have in Ghana, and for which we've had individuals picked up by the FBI in collaboration with agencies right here in Ghana. And so we'll try and continue to do that as well, to deepen the conversation and then bring everything to bear as we always do. We also told you that we'll be having a conversation on post-PCF pact with the IMF, in which we had a bailout, so to speak, following the debt restructuring we undertook, etc. What do we stand to gain following the current one we will be undertaking with the IMF, the PCI, so to speak? Because this is non-monetary. We're getting no monetary returns, but what we are being told will be gotten will be policy credibility with the IMF. We've had a number of individual countries like Cape Verde. Rwanda currently is still undertaking that with the IMF, and so their pattern of development is credited to not only good governance, but also they having big sum around them to put them in check as well. Senegal was on it for a number of years before they derailed their own progression and so had to leave. But Ghana has now undertaken this, so we have this to talk about. What are the implications for ordinary Ghanaians? And then for our finances, the level of expenditure, etc. I have the Chief Executive for the NPA who is here, and Lawyer, how are you? Adoji Tamaklo, good morning.
Good morning, Roland. Good morning to the only professor among us here, and union leader. And good morning to my learned friend, my friend who I promised, and he thought I was joking.
The moment you mentioned professor, you are exposing me. Because they will come after me.
No. So in the US, if you teach in the university,
yeah,
you're a professor. Of course, you are a PhD holder. Okay, so Dr. Benato.
But yours is not GTech certified for the time being. I don't want any problem with you.
And then I have Lawyer Apia Dankwa. How are you? Yeah, how's Alan Chairman thing? It's been a while. He's doing. I saw his video with my friend in Kumasi. What's his name? Okay.
Yeah, so no, I'm doing great. Let me wish yourself a good morning, your viewers a good morning. My learned brother, AJ, good morning. My own brother, Sly, good morning. It's been a while. Wish him a good morning and all the best.
Sly Tete.
Yeah.
Sly Tete, you are going for General Secretary?
Of course. And then...
Hey, General Secretary, is that no... Titus is going for General Secretary or Organizer?
National Organizer.
Titus.
Oh, okay, Titus Global.
Quite interesting. And then my professor, a good one, G-Taken.
How are you? Former Deputy Minister as well. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Former Member of Parliament.
I'm good.
You're well, eh? Okay. So we'll start the conversations. And Robert Coleman says good morning to all of you. And says that particularly mentions Dujita Maklu, you as well.
Thank you.
They say you have great relations.
Yes.
Robert Coleman, good morning to you. All right, so this is what Atoforsen, the finance minister...
Robert and myself were in Takrady over the weekend to bid farewell to the late father of the CEO of Ghana Gas, Madam Judith Ajoble.
Okay. And so this is what the finance minister did say, alongside the IMF representative for chief in country. The insets
present the restoration of macroeconomic stability and debt sustainability. Following the derailment of the IMF program as at end 2024, the government of President Mahama acted decisively to bring the program back on track and to recalibrate it by implementing a front-loaded fiscal consolidation, bold expenditure rationalization. PCI is a form of technical assistance engagement with the IMF. It is a non-financing instrument designed to help countries implement economic reforms and signal commitment to policies.
Ghana's ACF supported program has delivered impressive stabilization gains.
Inflation has declined rapidly, reserves have been rebuilt, and confidence in the cedi has been restored. Fiscal discipline improved markedly, with strong primary surplus and sharp decline in the debt ratio. Despite fiscal consolidation, what is very impressive, growth has been very strong and even stronger than what we expected, supported by broad-based private sector recovery and robust exports. These outcomes reflect determined policy implementation and progress in debt restructuring, and they mark an important turning point for the Ghanaian economy.
And Edwige, we're told important turning points, but the assumption on the street is that once you say you're leaving the IMF, even though it's PCI, which is non-monetary, it means that you can spend anyhow. That puts us in some difficulty or not?
Okay, so Roland, once again, good morning, and good morning to my co-panelists. As you are fully aware, the country Ghana has always signed up to the IMF, because remember that the IMF being an international organization, you need to sign up. We've gone through the processes of ratification, and you recall, this is the 17th exit that we are having. Now, it's also instructive to make this point that over the period, okay, the going to the IMF and exiting had never really gotten that political heightened conversation until somewhere in 2015, when the then vice presidential candidate in the person of Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia sought to politicize an IMF program. And I recall vividly in one of the lectures that he organized at Central University, the Distinguished Lecture Series, under the heading IMF Bailouts, will the anchor hold? In that conversation, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia sought to say that the John Mahama administration going into an IMF program was needless, and that the Mahama administration had to approach the IMF simply because, according to him, corruption and mismanagement. And so therefore, if you recall, when on the 1st of July, 2022, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo placed that call to the IMF managing director, Christian Georgida or something, I'm sure this name, we became like, the national conversation was like, seriously, if going into an IMF program was the product of corruption and mismanagement, then how then do we describe what exactly we're going to witness in 2022? And so we ran Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, who incidentally at that time was the chair of the economic management team, that is he going to change the narrative now that having supervised economic management, having chaired the economic management team for close to 6 years, we are having to go back. And this time around, we went into the IMF program in an ambulance. We went into the IMF program in intensive care unit because by 2022, and the story that we have been told was that the Bank of Ghana Governor Addison Doctor, had to approach President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo desperately that, Mr. President, we run the risk of defaulting on our external obligation. And therefore, if we do not go into this IMF program, we are at the risk of being declared bankrupt. And that will have huge implications for our sovereign integrity, among others. And therefore, the president had no choice. But you see, what is even more significant, and I wish to draw this analogy, is that you see, before 2020 election, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, through whatever instrumentality, has set up a committee to advise the government on fixing the forest, the depreciation. I think Franklin Franklin Kujo and Co were on that committee.
Yeah. Oh, what about it?
The reason why I'm bringing this issue is that we saw the deteriorating.
Because he did that in 2019.
Yes. So the previous IMF program that the NDC entered into was supposed to last up to 2019. By 2019 ending into the election, we started spending recklessly. And so by close of 2020, if you look at the numbers, our budget deficit went to 15%, the biggest or the highest in the whole of West Africa sub-region. I want to know which other country had this better, you know. So the point ought to be made that when the NDC came into power in 2025, we realized that there was an IMF program entered into by the previous administration. We also inherited an economy that had to go through a DDEP, a very painful haircut suffered by Ghanaians. But President John Dramani Mahama decided to think outside the box. The team of persons that he put together to manage the economy post-2024 December, obviously led by Minister Atuforsen, the Finance Minister, Governor Addison, and all the people within the economic space have so far done so well that what they decided to do is to put stability, physical consolidation first. Today, as we speak, the Ghanaian economy has become the toast of everybody. And but I have heard the European Union leader make the point that this is a good time to invest in Ghana. So the economic turnaround that we have seen in 15 months is a wonder. Many people are wondering, how have we been able to achieve this stellar performance within this period?
But Adriji, the question from Sam that I've monitored is, if you look at us getting out in 2018, it was heralded as well. And the government didn't have to enter in APCI. Now here we are. We still have IMF, so to speak, literally breathing down our necks. What's the difference then?
The reason, and in fact, that is why you need a PCI. Because by 2019, when there was no such thing, by 2022, the economy, the heat in the economy was so bad that it could melt anything, including human beings.
So bad?
So bad that people had to lose their investment. For the first time, we defaulted. For the first time, the Ghanaian economy was described as what? A junk status by international rating agencies.
COVID, Russia, Ukraine also played roles.
I have always maintained.
And these are acknowledged by both the IMF.
See, I've always maintained, and go back and read President Mahama's speech at Harvard. He made the point that without doubt, COVID definitely had an impact on economies globally. But the Ghanaian economy was an outlier in the sense that COVID alone brought to this economy 21 billion Ghana cedis. And by 21 billion Ghana cedis, I make reference to the 1 billion rapid credit facility. The 1 billion, what we call it, the rapid credit 1 billion. There was another 1 billion that we got. Then, what is even more important is that the World Bank alone gave us $630 million. Beyond that, we got printed funds into the economy by the Bank of Ghana. So if you put all of this together, the Ghanaian economy, COVID actually became a blessing because we got more money. But you see, what happened with the COVID funds is what we should be concerned about. We saw the MPP regional vice or so in the northern region, Madam Felicia Tete, make the point how COVID funds were shared like granates among MPP regional national executives and parliamentary candidates toward the 2020 election. And so we concluded the 2020 election with a budget deficit of 15% and over. And so when you have that kind of situation, the economy is definitely going to suffer. But you see, the reason why we need a PCI today is that the NPP never had a PCI. at the close of the Mahama, the IMF program.
They chose not to.
No, please. And the net result of that decision is the recklessness that we saw in the economy culminated in the 2022 IMF program again. Because by that time, we had borrowed Eurobonds alone $11 billion. We have committed ourselves, depleted the World Bank guarantee for the ENI project, and many recklessness in the Ghanaian economy. Today, regrettably, the finance minister who supervised all those undertakings is nowhere to be found, is nowhere to account for his stewardship. That is the kind of thing that we have. I would have wished that somebody like Mr. Kenoforiata will unveil himself voluntarily to account for his stewardship. And the reason why you need this is that since 1992, all finance ministers have stayed in this country to account for their stewardship. Whether Kwesi Botwe, whether Mr. Honorable Richard Kwan Pepra, Nana Yaosafo Mafo, whoever, including Setekwe, Honorable Atoforsin Deputy, they all stayed in this country to account for their stewardship. In fact, they never served this long time like Ken Oforiatta did. In fact, I think for the record, beyond Kwesi Botwe, he's the longest serving finance minister that we've gotten. So if you are given the public purse to manage, and it becomes necessary to account for your stewardship, and you decide to run away, that becomes problematic. So let me just conclude by saying that the PCI is important. It's important to also ensure that the stability, the gains we have made in this economy, we do not go back to the 2022 episode where the president had to basically go on his knees and plead with the IMF that if you do not come in, we run the risk of running a bankrupt economy. I say this mindful of the fact that that IMF program could not have been this painful, but for the fact that the government was simply intransigent. They wouldn't listen to sound advice. Why? They thought e-levy was going to provide them 6 billion Ghana cedis annually. And that by getting e-levy of 6 billion Ghana cedis annually, there wouldn't be the need. And so even at the NDC, yes, even at the NDC kept advising that let's approach the IMF much earlier, the government in November 2021 felt that e-levy could be a replacement for an IMF program. Eventually, when it became untenable for us to go on the e-levy target, government had no other option than to approach the IMF in an ambulance. We do not want to go to Egypt again.
Where is Egypt? Honorable Selected. The fear is that we'll still be very austere, even though the finance minister says that there's a program of action to lay out and ensure that private sector comes to play, and particularly for private investments from markets abroad. That's also an open gate for us, especially with the credit ratings, etc. What will be your own misgivings or observations so far?
Well, good morning to you and good morning to my colleagues here, and more importantly, to my MPP fraternity. And I think that you asked a simple question, and my brother went round in circles, and he did not even answer the question. He did not, and I find that quite intriguing, to say the least. But let me say that the IMF has been with us, and Ghana is a member of the International Monetary Fund. And for 17th time, we've gone into the IMF and has exited the IMF. The IMF itself has learned quite useful lessons under different regimes in this country, because under the 17 times that we've been to the IMF, it's not one particular regime. So the PCI today, what they call policy coordination instrument, it is not something that the NDC government voluntarily went into, but it is something that IMF particularly wanted.
You're saying they were forced?
I don't. That's too harsh a word to say that they were forced. I wouldn't say they were forced, but it's a proposal to the government simply because they do not trust the NDC to maintain the gains. The 16 or 15 months that they've been in power, it is the backbone of the policy, ECF policy that the MPP government pioneered. And I heard the finance minister, Honorable Atuforsin, says that the MPP derailed the program, which is not true. It's not true. There's nothing like derailment. If you talk of derailment, there must be a basis for you to say that the program was derailed. If you look at the program in 2023, as ushered in 2023, by end of 2024, end of 2023, obviously you saw the gains where our debt to GDP fell from 72.5% to 61%, and by 2024 we came to about 45%. The progression, you look at the inflation rate coming down from 54% to 23%, and of course there's based on that program that we entered into, the gains were significant and the projections has been on point. But if you are going for policy coordination instrument, it's just to put an eye that the gains we've chalked, now that the NDC, after 15 years, they are now going to go into their own policies, into their own programs. And the history of the NDC in managing our economy has never been something that the world or Ghanaians are practically happy with. You remember 2017, 2000, when we came into power, they had a similar program. And then the document they sent to the IMF, we had to be charged about $1.5 million at that time. It was a fine for presenting document that. But my brother went to town by saying that we had a very bad economy. Yes, indeed. If you look at the MPP administration when we came into office in 2017, between 2017, 2018, it was excellent in terms of numbers as we are being touted today. By 2019, 2020, the COVID, and it's not peculiar to Ghana, every part of the world had to suffer the harsh realities of the global economic recession. COVID, Russian-Ukraine war.
Russia-Ukraine?
Of course. And today, you see the then ranking member of finance, Atuforsin today, and leading members of the NDC were saying that the bombs that were thrown from Russia to Ukraine or vice versa were not landing in Mankesim, neither were they landing in Tema, to say that is a reason for the escalating economic hardships in Ghana. But today, they are citing similar incidents as a reason in the face of all the economic indicators that are looking so positive in the face of the document that we all see today. Nobody is against it. But of course, if you look at the success story under the MPP, in the first term, and the derailment, or what we call the hard economic situation that we face in 2019, 2020, leading to this particular policy where we did the DDEP was a painful decision, and I've spoken against it, that pensioners, those nearing retirement, and workers of this country had to suffer the consequences. In fact, I give credit, the economic gains that we are seeing today is a major credit that we have to give to the ordinary Ghanaian in this country, having to stand by government. And the NDC, of course, you go to the IMF, they held the policy of the DDEP that has given some space. So the gains we are seeing today, they must acknowledge that we paid the price. The MPP government paid the price for the DDEP that gave that space for the
domestic debt exchange program.
Of course, yes.
Pension fund holders, etc.
They paid the price. I'm saying that Ghanaians paid the price.
You're saying it's positive. We should applaud the MPP government for that.
Look, I choose my words carefully.
What are you saying, Mr. Tete?
I'm saying that Ghanaians paid the price. It was a painful decision. Politically, it cost us. If you look at the DDEP, obviously it's one of the reasons why we lost the last elections, painfully.
So how does that become positive?
I'm saying that it was a bold decision that you suffer the political consequences for that decision. But then ultimately, Ghana stands to benefit because it gave us that policy space to be able to implement your programs as a. And the IMF and the World Bank praised Ghana for that painful decision, even though it was a necessary evil at that time. The governor of the Bank of Ghana, the central bank today, had acknowledged the importance of the DDEP in the life cycle of our economy. So, for me, the bottom line of all this if you look at the extended credit facility that we engaged in, it has contributed significantly. I don't see anybody who will say that that particular policy has not contributed to the gains we've seen today. But the caution here is that having exited the program, and now you are going to be on your own, can the IMF or Ghanaians really trust the NDC to continue for the stability? What is important now is the stability. Whether or not they mean well to hold on to the gains we've made. That is why I think the IMF want to see that, look, let's be around, like Uncle Sam, let's be around to ensure that you keep the gains we've made so that you are able to discipline yourself so that you don't go back to the 2015s where they went into IMF program. You saw the challenges we had with it and all that. My major lookout for this is that today we have the dollar to CD ratio in terms of depreciation having been very good. We expect that the outcome of all these economic indicators will reflect in the lives of the ordinary person today. Cost of petroleum products are going up. In April, you saw the reduction of the 2 cedis increment that the government absorbed. I am aware that today it is returning back to the pumps. Unemployment today nationally is about 32.4%. In Greater Accra, it's about 49%. That is scary in the face of all that. If you go to cost of doing business, we want to see translation of all these wonderful economic indicators translating into the daily lives of our people, that people, the workers of this country had been promised that they will be given a wage that is commensurate to their work, that will make them have 3 square meals a day. You remember at the MPP, there was that you do 133, is it during the campaign? 010. 010 means you don't eat in the morning, in the afternoon you eat, in the night you don't eat. 010. That's not the 133.
Or 100.
Or 100.
Or 010.
But today is worse. Speak to the ordinary people on the street. So for me, I think that the importance of all this, we've been with the IMF, we've gone back at some point in time. They praise that no IMF leadership or at any point in time, having gone to a program, had to take a swipe at the country. They've always had to praise us and all that. But at the end of the day, the people back home, I remember the NDC telling us that we don't eat economic indicators. That is not what we eat. The best measurement of economic indicator is the ordinary person on the street. The best indicator of measuring your success is when you promise people 1 job, 3 people. The best economic indicator on the street is when you promise nurses and teacher trainees that there will be automatic recruitment of nurses, and after 15 months, under the face of all these nice economic indicators, the people are still at home. The best indicator is when you promise that there will not be a licensure exams. The best indicator is when you promise that 1 job, 3 people. We are not seeing it. So these are the realities the ordinary person will measure your successes today. The best indicator to say that, we know the indicators that pushes petroleum product up or down. All those indicators are quite fantastic. What we are seeing today, of course, the global crude market price is on ascendancy. Obviously, it will impact the local price. But when it happened under the previous regime, all that they were saying that the bombs that were thrown were not being thrown in Mankasim, neither were they being thrown in Techiman or were being thrown in Tema. So for that reason, it shouldn't have a bearing. In any case, they even said that Ghana is a net exporter of petroleum products. To that extent, we should have more money, just as he's saying that we had a lot of money during COVID time. As to how we expended it, that one, nobody talks about it. All they say is that you've received X amount of money and how you expended it. And I'm surprised that accounting processes of this country is done by the Auditor General year on year, and every report is submitted to Parliament. So people, and President Mahama, one point in time, when he was the president, said he find it ridiculous for members of Parliament or people who are knowledgeable about accounting processes in this country to question what government has used our money for. He's on record. President Mahama is on record. So today, if they come to tell us they didn't know what the monies we earned during the COVID time had been used for, the Auditor General, when they came into office, they changed him. They've done a lot of investigations. They should produce the report to say that.
Who changed the Auditor General?
Of course, the Auditor General.
But Johnson Esiama, he's there. He'll be living in audit.
No problem. So, however,
I'm
sorry. However, the people who were there, they are still there. They produce report for you. So for you to say that you don't know what they use those COVID funds for, I'm sorry. Like President Mahama said, it's marks of
there was a special audit that was undertaken. And we all spoke to it at the time.
Yes, we spoke to it. So what I'm saying is that nobody...
And the findings did indicate that there was a misapplication of funds.
So you see, if there's a misapplication of funds...
It means the money was not used well.
You see, for instance, he made reference to the Felicia Tete. And let me correct that impression. There was nothing like COVID fund being shared for people. There was nothing like that. Please, take it from me.
The audio was wrong.
I'm telling you, it was wrong.
She was lying.
Please, take it easy. I was a board chairman of Ghana Enterprises Agency at the time. So I know this too well. You see, what happened under the Ghana Enterprises Agency, it wasn't a COVID fund as it were. It was a World Bank funding for small, medium enterprises. And that one, Roland, nobody gets list or you apply online. And there's what we call random selection of beneficiaries. And that system was monitored by external, consultants. So every Ghanaian can go onto the portal and apply.
No, so do I understand you to say that the MPP regional executives were enterprises that were giving those COVID money?
That is why what I'm saying that nobody was given a product, bring this X amount of people for any funding. Take it from me. I was the board chairman.
Also, we should ignore Felicia.
I am telling you. I'm telling you. When you keep reference,
she was lying.
You kept
but
making,
when you were the board chair, you never issued any statement to, as it was a disclaimer.
Let me tell you.
He says that you are cross-examining.
You are linking that audio to COVID fund. Okay? You were linking that Felicia's audio.
No, but Felicia did say that it was supposed to support them because of the COVID, and so it was...
No, that is why I'm saying that. That particular World Bank project implemented by the Ghana Enterprise Agency was for every small, medium enterprise. And the thing was that you apply online. In fact, we took a swipe. The government took a swipe that, we're not even helping people. You can't help anybody. You go online, make the application, you undergo training, beneficiaries, not only
Madam Felicia didn't understand the extent to
so which... So that is why I'm telling you, nothing like that. So did you
correct her as chairman of the Ghana Enterprise
The CEO issued a letter. It is alien to our practices at Ghana Enterprise Agency. And nobody...
So who chopped their money?
Which money?
The money she was expecting.
Which money? That is why people were explaining that monies didn't come. It was supposed to be a COVID buffer. Let me be honest with you. In my constituency, people made application and they walked to me. I don't know, we are board chairman, help me. I said, look, this one, I don't have control over it. It's a randomized. Go check from the World Bank.
So how could Felicia, because you see, in the case of...
Let me tell you something.
In the case of Felicia Tete, I recall vividly, she gave specific numbers. That for regional
all of them were supposed to have access.
This how much they were entitled. For constituency executive, this was how much. For parliamentary candidate. And in fact, she said
parliamentarian.
At that time, she was the parliamentary candidate for Sagnarigu. Her amount, she even added it onto the amount for constituency executive.
So let me tell you something.
After 3-4 years, you come out and you put up this explanation.
You see, let me be honest with you. I was a parliamentary candidate myself.
You received some?
No. I'm telling you something. Take it from me. And I'm saying these are verifiable facts.
Okay.
You have a CEO, Mago, is a CEO there now. You can verify from her what I'm saying. And it still persists. That program has ended. That particular intervention is not an intervention that if you are even a CEO, you have access to funding to allocate to people. Okay? People made applications because when the portals were open, it was given to people to apply. Everybody, every Ghanaian applied. But I'm saying that the beneficiary, the selection of the beneficiaries is not within the remit of even the CEO.
So which monies were
So when I'm correcting him because he was linking that to COVID fund. And I understand that
in the audio, have you listened to the audio? In the audio, she says that the monies were given because of the COVID situation to enable executives of the party.
So let me ask you something. You think the monies were sent to the region or monies were sent where?
How do you assess it?
But how would we know? She came
So
out.
that is what I'm telling you. Nobody could have assessed money just like that.
Did you get some of the money?
No, but what I'm
Your executive, did they get some of
How
the
do
money?
you get it?
Do you know that?
No, I'm not the wager about
it even brought a fight among constituencies.
That is why I am telling you that people, when the program was launched, people might have thought that, oh, once you have a link to somebody, you can get it.
Your explanation is...
But you might not take it. But I'm saying that you have Mago there today. Go there. You have the new board in there. You have a new CEO in there. And I'm telling you how the program worked. That is why we even had a challenge from our own party supporters that we were not helping people. But I'm telling you, that was the program designed. So if anybody comes to tell you monies were sent to constituency, that's a lie. Find out from your constituency whether anybody else, apart from the place that the audio came from. It is not true. So linking that to...
she was lying.
Stop doing this. Stop doing this.
No, but we should know.
Stop doing this. Please,
hold on.
Please.
On this,
is that the only adjective you could use to describe the situation?
No.
Why you kept pushing? She was lying.
No.
Please. And I'm saying that. Please, I am telling you, it has nothing to do with COVID fund as far as GEA was concerned.
How?
That is why I'm telling the linkage. You are saying that the COVID fund that came.
Do you trust? Having explained,
yes.
Do you trust that the government now adopting the PCI is going to ensure that what we've been able to achieve will keep us on the right path on the levels of expenditure?
It is time will tell all this. We have our reservations. We've made it clear that the NDC, they have kept the program. They've done well to their successful end. Now that the program is not there, I hope that they will even respect this PCI, because this is non-binding. It is a guide. If you can decide to pick it or otherwise. That's what I'm saying. So I'm saying that we'll all be happy that the discipline, the stability will be extended. That is the point I'm making. It is not political. The market economy or the environment, if it's healthy for all of us. We don't have NDC market, neither do we have an MPP market. It's the ordinary person. And I'm telling you, the weight, even in the face of all these laudable economic indicators we are touting, the weight on the ordinary person today, it is not that light. So if they will keep the discipline, the better it is for all of us. And we look at ways to maintain the discipline that we have today. But for the NDC, the celebration of this PCI is non-binding. It is not something that they'll put a gun on your head. But it's like what we did under the APRM, African Peer Review Mechanism. It is not to say that we expected you to do A, B, C, D. So if you don't do it, there's a gun on your head. But we expect the government to be disciplined. We expect the government to ensure that whatever conditions they followed, because we started the program 2023, we handed over 2025 to the NDC. They've kept the fire until now. The success story, I said that, look, I will celebrate the ordinary Ghanaian, especially the DDEP and then the G20 restructuring financial agreement that we had really helped this country. Nobody can doubt that. But the caution is, let's keep the discipline, let's stabilize, let's make sure that the good people of this country will reap the full benefit of all that. If we want to go back in history and do the politicking of it, it doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help anybody. Look, the gains we made in the dollar-CD relationship, a stronger dollar, $1 to
16, 17.
There was nothing like 16, 17. Today we have about 12 CDs per $1 to a CD. That is good. We handed over 14.1 CDs to $1 in this country. Now, the economy we run today, go to the port. The introduction, we discussed it here, the introduction of the Pelican AI has derailed all the gains the importing public is making, the effect on the ordinary person. They are shouting, they are crying. And even that stability came with a cost. How much we pump into the economy to be able to achieve that. That in itself is a huge cost to this government. And if you do the cost-benefit analysis, whether or not it's worth doing that for the sake of politics, or it's worth doing that for the benefit of the ordinary person, we just referred you to the port.
You mean the financial intermediation?
Yes.
That's what you refer to as pump?
Well, depending on how you talked about your sterilization, however you talk about it. But I'm saying that the ordinary person in my village, the ordinary person in your village, the importance of all these jargons and interventions is to see that his life improves.
is to see that these lights are kept on, is to see that whatever small businesses it doesn't lose it. So for me, the NDC's own history, its own culture, put a lot of fear in all of us. But we hope that they remain disciplined to ensure that the gains we've made will continue to have the gains.
No, please hold on. Roland, please make a point. No, respect.
If you speak, what is the 30 seconds? Then if you speak about, if someone is let's begin. Roland, note it down. Why are you begging? Note it down. When you speak, I will also speak. When you speak, I will also speak.
I just want to read something.
Please read something. Please, Roland. If this is how we are going to go to the program, then let's go about it.
When you speak, you speak.
When you speak, I also speak. So
just 30 seconds.
And then I also speak 30 seconds. I also speak 30 seconds. Is that the program?
Let me just read something.
Roland, is that the program?
What do you want to read?
If somebody closes his eyes to damage you, there is nothing like you are above responding to such a person. That one day, I won't take it. I would also have to come out to explain myself. Let me say this. The COVID fund came. I was given 50,000 Ghana cedis. My quota was 50,000 as a regional vice chairman. Then who doubles as parliamentary candidate for Stagnarigu? I had another 50,000 Ghana cedis, making it 100,000. Then the constituency was given is 200,000. So I can't remember. So MC was given 30,000. This is what Felicia Tete said. It's a COVID fund.
Okay, so let me tell you something. From here, Roland, go to Mago at Ghana Enterprises Agency. The full set of management were all appointed by the NDC, including the board chairman. And find out traces how, whether or not 50,000 go to Felicia Tete. And let's come back to this program.
And Felicia was
I'm saying that don't go far, Roland, don't go far. Let's go to GEA and find out whether or not some monies went to them. And come back to the program and expose me.
That's all.
Simple.
That's all. Please. So at the end of the day, do you trust that with PCI we'll be able to not derail, but adhere to the various criteria that we need by a level of expenditure and then also shepherding the economy? So that we achieve growth and good returns.
Yeah, so I think it's necessary to say here, as in based on what my brother Sly said, that the PCI was entered voluntarily. He himself eventually considered that.
Initially, he started by saying that it was a compulsory thing.
Exactly. So himself,
the government made a request. In fact, there's a
I said it's not compulsory.
It hasn't ended. If I initially gave the impression that they were compelled to enter into the PCI. Also, I think it ought to be made clear that the focus or the objective of the PCI, first of all, is to sustain fiscal discipline, is to aid government in handling debt sustainability issues, is to help them deal with inflation control and to keep the exchange rate stability. But I think the ultimate purpose of this PCI is to give policy credibility to the government. Having said that, my personal view is, based on how government has handled the fiscal and monetary bit of the economy, in aiding them in creating the right economic ecosystem, I want to trust that they'll maintain the set discipline. It is important to note that the right economic ecosystem be important. The reason why we've been to the IMF for 17 times, in my opinion, is because of a fundamental flaw in the structure of our economy. And so that is dealt with. Just being disciplined, just
won't be enough.
Won't be enough. Because essentially, you see, the biggest problem this economy faces is one of our inability to generate enough revenue. Two, we have an economy that is unable to create jobs. We have an economy that is unable to engender enough foreign exchange growth, inflows into the system. And so it is necessary that these issues are dealt with. You see, we keep on talking about about the MPP, or whether we should go back to how Nana Addo and Bawumia handle the economy. I think it would be unfair to just say MPP because we still have Kofour manage the economy. So I think it is important that I narrow it to how Nana Addo and Bawumia manage the economy.
Why is that important at this point?
Because they were the ones who had the power of fiscal policy. When we say power of fiscal policy, I mean they had the power to determine how they're going to spend monies and how they're going to raise what's called monies. You recall that when Bawumia made his lecture after he won the MPP presidential race, he said that the reason why the economy practically died, and we say GDP, it is important to say that, and my brother Eduji is here.
Domestic debt exchange program.
It was essentially a debt restructuring. See, when you go to...
was it a condition, President? It was, right? If you don't do it, don't come to us.
We got to a level where we could not pay our debts. It's like, well, you'll go to court, you get judgment, or you lose a case, and you have to pay money. If your client is not able to pay the money, you go to court and plead to the court that, please, let me restructure. So that we had GDP because Ghana just couldn't pay its debts when they became due. So we have to go and beg. Now, it is important to understand that when we left the IMF in 2018, the reason why the economy tanked was not only because of COVID and Russia and Ukraine. You understand? There were very terrible fiscal decisions made that essentially worsened our health, the economic health situation. One, can we have an explanation why government, why Bawumia, decided to spend 400 million on 1D1F, which was meant to be Nana Addo's most transformational policy, and 5 billion on NAPCO? He should explain to us, because it was that decision made it impossible for us to increase productivity. You understand? To a level where we could generate enough revenue, where we could create jobs, where we could attract enough foreign exchange. You recall that Bawumia, when he won the MPP presidential candidate at IPS, said that one of the reasons why the economy became so sick that we got to a stage where we had to do DDEP, as in a stage where we had to breach the principles of economy 101, where he failed to reverse the principle of the Hattarization of the cedi, was because he, Bawumia, failed fundamentally in delivering the tax Nana Addo gave him. Now, what tax did he say Nana Addo gave him? What tax did he say? He said Nana Addo gave him the tax of dealing with the fundamental structural issues that hindered the growth of this economy. And he, Bawumia, identified that one of those fundamental issues was the large size of our informal sector. Yes, and he failed to deal with it. Now, I think I've said this so many times here, and I think I want to say it again, that one of the history has taught us that one of the fundamental ways in which you deal with your inability to grow is to deliberately deal with the small and medium scale enterprises. Because you can deal with the informal, the large size of the informal sector by deliberately dealing with your small and medium scale enterprises. And I always use the example of the USA. In 1953, Dwight Eisenhower led the
private business.
As a Small Business Act, which created the Small Business Agency. And one of the reasons why American economy boomed after the difficulties they had on the back of the Great Depression and the Second World War. Now, Bawumia had a solution, and that solution was...
Why do you keep mentioning Bawumia?
I have to mention Bawumia. He was the one. Another said that, listen, that the reason why he was bringing Bawumia was to deal with the economic situation of the country. It was Idol who told us.
That's public, yeah.
Yeah, he told us that the only reason he's going to deal with the governance, and that Bawumia is going to deal with the economic side. Now, you recall that in 2017, when Anado came to power, Alan Chamantin gave them a solution that was going to deal with this SME issue. That's the creation of the business resource centers. The essence of the business resource centers essentially was one, to deal with the corporate governance structures of our small and medium scale enterprises. And two, hopefully also to create a situation where they will have the inflows of cash. Because you see, you just don't throw money at SMEs. Government must find a way of giving them support, not just in terms of capital, but also in terms of technical support. You understand? How much money did Nana Addo and Bawumia, the holders of our fiscal policy, how much money did they spend with the VRCs? Indeed, it's on record that they fought against the VRCs because see, when you want to deal with the informal sector issue, and the informal sector is aware that there's something for me to benefit by formalizing in terms of having access to technical support and to having then had that technical support in terms of your corporate governance systems and structures, you have access to capital, which hidden business won't want to go and register and become.
So your point is that we didn't put our money where our mouth is.
My point is that statement that they come to deal with the haterization of the city, that statement that Bamia was come to lead the economic transformation of Ghana was a scam. It was a fraudulent statement. It was a statement that they did not believe in the truth. I'm saying this, yes, based on how you manage the economy. Well, that's why I asked this question. Can you give me a justification why you spend 400 million Ghana, just 400 million Ghana, on 1D1F, on one of the projects which was meant to be your most transformational projects, and 5 billion on NAPCO. 5 billion on NAPCO. And you see, we keep on talking about the COVID funds. The COVID funds was up to the tune of, in dollar terms, almost 2 billion. By the time when the COVID funds came, the city was around 5 to 6, about 2 billion. Now, I always say this here, and in a way, I'll blame my NDC brothers for sitting aloof and not going after the report in that COVID audit. Because in that COVID audit, it says that, what's called, the former Minister for Health, what's his name? Could not account for $88 million also. It's in that report.
For the COVID vaccine?
Yeah, it's in that report. Why are we not seeing traction in terms of accountability with that? I think in that report, even Anna B's name was mentioned. Why are we not seeing traction with accountability, the quest for accountability? Yeah, you understand? So, you see, right now you have a major opposition party that because of how they manage the economy, because of the flaws in the fiscal decisions they took, because of their failure to show real commitment in using their fiscal policy, their fiscal power in a manner that will aid productivity, in a manner that will build small and medium-scale enterprises, in a manner that will lead to the rapid transformation of an economy which is largely informal to formal. A government that failed to use a fiscal policy to aid in industrialization. A government that said that, listen, we are going to implement the agric operation, feed yourself. Right now, the evidence is therefore operation what's the name? The agric
planting
for food and jobs. Planting for food and jobs and all its other programs. And presumably a lot of money was spent there. What was the result?
Okay.
Did he have structure? Did he have a plan? You understand? Essentially, we have seen how lack of traction, lack of commitment in proper building of the economy. Because see, when you define an economy is not just fiscal and monetary. The economy is also production and consumption. You will need to understand that. And the fiscal and the monetary's purpose is to create the right economic ecosystem. So if you do not use your fiscal, especially, and even your monetary, to engender that increase in product, and the economy will die. Yeah. And so because of that, there's a fundamental lack of credibility on their side to speak on economic issues.
Whose side? You mean?
On the MPP side. There's a fundamental, listen, slide. Because even on this issue that we are talking about, you understand, I do not doubt my brother Sly's answers. I don't doubt it. My only issue is my brother Sly. And Sly is one of the most vociferous and one of the most honest MPP members I know.
Vociferous and honest?
Honest. Because I listened to his interviews when he was an MPP. And at that time, he opposed some of the policies of the MPP at that time. The question is, on this issue, as Watchman Sly, you should have come out. If the issue was that
public audio, it's word against the public audio, which has been widely circulated.
That's why I said that I do not doubt what Sly is telling me. My only issue is, with the kind of information he had been board chair, probably he should have. In fact, if I had this information based on my, I would advise Sly, brother,
don't
please,
raise it.
No. come out with a disclaimer. If indeed what the woman is saying was an untruth, you understand? Come out with
I'll give you a time for you to wrap up. I have Professor Peter Quartey, former director, as well as we know he's an economist, Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, University of Ghana. Good morning to you, Peter Quartey. Prof.
Good morning, Roland, and good morning to your panelists and your viewers.
I have just a very simple question. We went to the IMF because we were not sustainable when it comes to paying our debts. We inherited a program, and so it's been followed through, and we've been giving good marks for it. This new PCI, we've had other countries implement or perhaps also try to deploy this as well. What will be, based on what you've seen so far, what was undertaken 2024, and then also over the last, I have to say, 17 months, will make you stick your neck out to say that with PCI, we can't stick to the right criteria and then also be able to achieve growth?
Well, Roland, if you want to assess somebody, you want to assess an economy, you will certainly look at behavior in the past. If you look at our trajectory, our behavior, we have had a clear pattern. That is, within an IMF framework, we are able to clean up, we are able to do well. Program, we create the mess, then we come back again and clean the mess. So we have this political business cycle that for the first 3 years we perform. Then in the last year, the year of election, we throw everything away and then create the mess. And we come back to it seems it is very difficult for us to take the tough decision, very difficult for us to keep our house in order. And therefore, as the IMF exits, we have thought it wise to go for the PCI. I mean, we are a member of the IMF, and therefore we qualify for the PCI. It doesn't come with financial transfers or benefits. It just gives credibility. It just assures the investor public that once you are still with the IMF and you are doing the right things, then I can invest because I know that your macroeconomy or fundamentals are going to be stable. So that's basically what a PCI seeks to do, to ensure that we take the tough decisions, to ensure that we remain fiscally disciplined, we are able to take tough decisions and ensure that we don't derail the gains we've made in the past years or past few years.
So what do we need to do based on your own observation? When we're under IMF, we're good boys. Immediately we leave IMF, we become indisciplined boys to stick with the benchmarks in the PCI.
I think it takes leadership. I mean, we this reset mantra that we are chanting. If we can really reorient our minds, leadership reorients its mind. When I talk of leadership, it's not just with the president, the entire cabinet, the heads of the MMDAs, private sector, all of us. If we will reorient our minds and ensure that now we want to get our destiny, put our destiny in our hands, we want to ensure that we do the right things. We don't need a third party to tell us to put our house in order. It doesn't work that way. We all have homes. We manage our homes. I don't think we need our grandparents or our mother-in-laws or father-in-laws to tell us how to run our homes. Same way, why can't we run our economy? Why do we always need a third party to tell us what to do? Of course, we can benefit from advice, but we should own it. We should own the process.
Okay. So, by your own conclusion,
you expect that at least in 36 months' time we'll achieve a lot. That will run into the elections, the election year. And so far, the election years, we don't do well. What should Atuforsen, the finance minister, if he's still the finance minister, be doing based on the expectations in that election year, 2028?
Well, if I were him and I was the president, would lead a serious retreat, a cabinet meeting to reorient our minds. That this time round, we will not allow our personal interest or our political interest to derail all the gains made. I think the government would have to sit and have this discussion. Because you find MPs, you find ministers, you find people who want to win elections at all costs. But then we also have a president who wants to leave a legacy. How do you strike this delicate balance? How do you ensure that they both achieve their objectives? And that is why, for me, I am calling for this meeting, this serious retreat or cabinet meeting, to dialogue on this, to chart the way forward, and ensure that even if we are in election year, we will not put away the program. We will continue to manage the economy. After all, voters are discerning. It's not all voters that you can put 50 cedis or something in the matches box or buy rice or TV and get them to vote for you. Voters are discerning. They see your achievement and they will vote for you if they see that the economy is stable. They will vote for you if they realize that economy is growing. They see poverty reducing. We are discerning people, and gradually we become more discerning. So let's avoid the situation where close to elections will be casting swords. Close to elections will be constructing roads. Close to elections will be fixing potholes. Close to elections will be doing things that we haven't budgeted for. I think that serious meeting or thinking, just like we did in Tenchi, has to happen.
Okay, so my last question, if because you're a professor and also a consultant as well, contributing to many issues when it comes to the economy, not only in Ghana but across the world, 0 to 10, over the last 17 months, how would you rate the management of the economy, 0 to 10?
Well, so far, I think I could give 7.
70%?
Yes, 70%, because I mean, we've seen stability, we've seen macro stability and all that. It's just to say that employment issues remain a challenge. Unemployment remains a major problem. People's livelihood hasn't improved as much as I would have expected. So at the early days yet, I mean, 17 months, it's not a long period. Maybe midstream can come back and see whether this has improved or not. But given that it's a short period and we've seen some stability, I could give 70%.
Professor Peter Kwodzi, thank you for your time. The distinguished professor of economics had headed ESA for a very long time as well. And Doctor, you wrap up.
Yeah, he said so. So to end, beyond the partisan games, I think we need to focus as a country and to understand that, listen, for the issue right now is how do we create an economy that will not go back to the IMF for the 18th time? And for me, the answer goes beyond just the PCI, but the answer goes to us creating an economy that will engender growth. There's one ahead that Honorable Atuforsen says he's going to inject 1% of our GDP into the private sector. For me, that's the way to go. And if it can be structured well, if it can be done right, also because of the institutionalization of the 24-hour economy. And for me, whether you call it 24-hour economy, whether you call it an enterprise economy, but if governments haven't done the 24-hour economy, tells me that they're going to pump about $1.47 billion into the economy. If it's done right, I think that it will be a right step towards building an economy that one can generate revenue, building an economy that can create jobs, building an economy that can attract or create foreign currency into the system. And once that is done, I believe that would have taken a huge step in building ourselves up to a situation where we may not have to go back to the IMF.
Yeah, so Papa Ro, I think that the professor made some brilliant points, and I agree with him to a large extent. I've listened to debates from colleagues on the panel, and I also agree, to a large extent, some of the issues explaining why we have gone for the PCI. My immediate response probably is that I feel that Ghana should look at itself and probably determine the direction it wants to go in terms of developing its own economy, rather than probably always running for shelter, from IMF, and even working under conditions of IMF. So the question then is, if you have independence, if we are a republic, where lies our sovereignty? I am of the opinion that, you see, you asked the professor a question, and which he explained that we need to understand where we are coming from. What has actually caused us, to go to IMF on a number of occasions. And any time that we go to IMF, what it means is that as long as IMF is in the equation, we seem to be doing well. The moment we exit that program and then IMF goes out of the radar, then we seem to be messing up. What it probably indicates is that we are not being disciplined enough, when it comes to managing our own economy and our own affairs. When it comes to our financial issues, we are not committed to that extent to be able to, manage our economy as a nation. And this is where the problem is. And so, you see, with the exits, we were not under any compulsion, to go for the PCI. What it means is that as a country, we could have even decided that we wouldn't be part of this second phase program. And then probably we could have designed our own domestic model that could bring us or help us, to leverage on what we have gained from the IMF, to be able to build on our economy. But then I feel strongly that we still must be under the monitoring of IMF. And when we check the narratives, right, most of the issues that have taken us to IMF, one is that during an election year, because we want to please voters, and that is why the professor was saying that we are not under any compulsion to be pleasing voters. Now, because we want to please voters, all that we are interested in is that most of the projects that have not been completed, flagship programs that have not been completed, we tend to overspend because we want to complete it. And in doing that, obviously, you bloat your budget, and it leads you into a certain expenditure which probably you might have not even budgeted for. Roland, another thing that we've been talking about and we continue talking about is the over-reliance on our commodities. All right. Mostly, any time that our commodity or the commodity prices on the world market falls, we seem to be struggling. Why? Because we always get that deficit in terms of our revenues. Okay, so when that happens, our budget is derailed, and we seem to be hitting, a rock. And so, what we need to do probably is that, look, we need to expand our export drive. We need to invest so much into processing the resources that we have, so that at the end of the day, you know, we are adding value to the resources that we have. I mean, take cocoa for instance. I mean, I don't see why gold should be refined outside the country, come back, and then we buy it at an expensive price. Meanwhile, if we are able to invest in the gold, value chain, or the mining value chain, and we are able to add value to the gold that we mine, and then we export the value added, products, obviously we'll be getting more money than what we are currently doing. So I think that as we are coming out of this, we need to leverage on the directions, the monitoring that the PCI is going to provide us, build a solid economic foundation, or that will ensure that, look, we don't just mess up again, but we are able to save money. We are able to invest the monies where, it will bring us good returns, and then probably move on as a country. Lawyer was talking about unemployment. I mean, yes, unemployment seems to be something that is hanging around our necks and causing a lot of damages to us. How are we getting out of it? How are we going to use this PCI, returns or gains, to be able to get more money, invest in factories, invest in SMEs, invest in small cottage businesses, so that people in rural areas probably may get certain jobs to do. Look at the population growth rate of Accra now. Look at that of Kumasi and that of Takrady. I mean, it is because of the rural-urban migration issues, for lack of jobs. All right. So if some of these things are coming, and we need to take advantage of it, I take it that yes, the IMF can help us based on this PCI, framework, right? But the gains that are coming, where are we investing? All right. For me, the bottom line is job creation. For us not going back to IMF for the 18th, 19th, 20th time. It's about job creation. It's about value addition. It's about financial and physical discipline. It's about also making sure that some of these state-owned enterprises, right, we are in that position to give them that kind of independence, where they will run, make profits, and will not always bring losses, that the taxpayers' money, is what is going to help. I mean, we need that kind of discipline. Look, I get a bit frustrated sometimes when we sit on this table and we talk about corruption. Who is causing the corruption? To what extent are we ready to indicate to the Ghanaian population that we are ready fighting corruption? Okay. And how are we disciplined as a people, as individuals? I'm not talking about government alone. I'm talking about myself as Dr. Bernard Tutubuai. How disciplined am I that I in that small corner that I find myself?
You chop Ghana money.
I wouldn't chop Ghana money.
All right. Eduje, just 2 minutes. What should we be expecting? Do we trust that we'll keep the gains? And would we have that huge financial outlay in the areas that diversification is needed? Private sector, create jobs, value addition.
You see,
2 minutes.
so just to demonstrate the commitment of the President Mahama administration to keeping the numbers, keeping the stability, keeping the gain, it's because others had the opportunity and never went for a PCI. And so and the reason was that they had a 2020 election ahead of them and had already purposed to overspend because of the elections. President Mahama, clearly well-intentioned, had decided to go for 37 months. So what it simply means is that this thing goes beyond the 2028 election. And the whole idea is that you want to structure the economy in such a way that post you don't be an issue of instability. It takes a leader, a visionary leader, to go that route. If not, President Mahama can say, you know what, let me just, we are on our own. Let's spend, Madumaku, let's eat and die. Tomorrow will not, there wouldn't be any tomorrow. Tomorrow will handle itself. But tactically, he had decided that let's go through the PCI approach for 37 months. And thankfully, July 27th or so, the board of the IMF will be sitting on these matters and will conclude. Let me also make the point. Initially, my brother started off by creating the impression that we're under compulsion. No, it's a voluntary request by government of Ghana to enter that. I strongly believe that we left a stronger, robust economy in 2016. Much economic buffers than in 2024. And the record is clear. If the John Mahama administration took over in December 2024 with over $1 billion of financial buffers, this economy will today be all over the place. But thankfully, prudence, economic management, sound one of course, without noise. Let me conclude on this. We've exited the IMF, no Wache party, no Kenke party, no noise, just sound numbers. That for me is the most important
thing. Your conclusion.
If wishes are horses, beggars will always ride them. Let me say that, and I always emphasize the point that I'm a Ghanaian first. You are a Ghanaian first before any political party. Therefore, unless, of course, you are only dependent on largesse of government, that you will not be concerned about how well this economy does at one point in time. I'm of the firm belief that power is transient and will not stay with one side alone. President Akufo-Addo, I'm happy he's comparing 2016 to 2024. That's an 8-year span. But what they left in 2016, by the end of 2018, 2019, we have turned the tide. And the unfortunate incident, look, we signed into law the Fiscal Responsibility Act in 2018 to check government expenditure, especially in election year. So the wishes, like I said, we all wish and hope for, and we can only expect government to be disciplined. And all that we are saying today, of course, like the Akan proverb says that I don't know whether you understand it. The hunter is the one who has the meat. They
doesn't even know the genesis of that. No, Jacobo.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so your wife might have been a good teacher.
Look at this.
So the point I'm making is that we all had well intentions for this country, to the extent that President Akufo-Addo and the MPP knew the problems of overexpending in every election year. In fact, 2016 was a typical example. Yeah. That pushed us to bring in the fiscal stability.
You never got the 5% throughout.
No, yeah, because we had to go back to Parliament. We even did not say.
But what I'm saying, got the 5%
the thing was done in 2018. It was done in 2018. In 2018 and 2019.
You never
in 2019, the unfortunate happened. Oh, please. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. So the intention were not just.
I mean, they breached their own responsibility.
We went to Parliament, including yourself there. We went to Parliament. So it's nothing that we only wish for. And my brother counsel said that. Counsel said that we did not mean well. How do we spend 5 billion on NAPCO and then 400 million
on the transformational side?
Applaud the government for the business resource centers across the country. Everywhere you travel to, it's there.
But the government spend money on that.
Of course, government did spend money on it. We did spend money on that. And then NAPCO, at that time, today, in Greater Accra, the national capital, 49% of employable youth are unemployed. You think it's not worth investing in that sector? It is. Okay. So let's not belittle the importance of NAPCO, where 100,000 young people who had completed school, 100,000 at a go, that government gave them opportunity to even have experience on the job. The subscription were more than 100 at the time the portal was open. So it tells you the gravity of youth unemployment at that time. So it's very important.
It's like, I don't doubt your personal commitment to Ghana, but I doubt MPP's commitment. I don't doubt your personal commitment. A party that has a minority leader who is, he was 1 year marginal at the law, so who's a senior lawyer, you understand, to handle a press conference. African market. Okay. Understand? And in that press conference shows gross unfaithfulness to the ideals, the purpose of Ghana. You understand? So if a judge makes a decision that is fundamentally flawed in law, you know that you have a lot of avenues to deal with that. Statutory, you can call on the supervisory jurisdiction of the High Court. You may even go on appeal if you have. Understand?
And I watched the press conference, and it's completely unwarranted. The attack on the judge should be condemned by all well-meaning governments.
It is an attack on our constitution.
And the judiciary.
But having said that,
unacceptable.
Sly, you love this country. Would you take a decision, you understand, based on facts, where 400 million spent per the reports we were told, created over 150,000 jobs? 400,000, and beyond that, created factories that will add to our GDP, will bring foreign exchange. You understand? And then spend 5 billion.
Man, it's the same government we are talking about. It's the same government we are talking about. It's the same
on record of criticizing this couple.
It's the same MPP government. Remind him that he's talking about the MPP government.
But 400 million will give you 150,000 jobs. And also create a sustainable job.
What has become of it after 15 months?
And then 5 billion.
What has become of it?
5 billion, 100,000.
What has become of it today?
Leonard, is the more reason why I use the word Madumaku simply means you let's eat and die.
That's what you are doing today. That's what you are doing today.
You see, you don't mess up with the gains from the PCI. That is why it is important that we need to deal decisively with issues related to corruption.
The gains were rather from the EFC.
Yes. And that is why
extended credit facility.
We need to ensure that
extended credit facility. Give credit to the MPP. It's our program, our policy.
Your credit is DDP,
IMF, and then the
that is the basis of the EP.
We should be able to channel it into job creation. I mean, if 400,000, it was dollars or cedis. If 400,000 can create 150,000, 400 million cedis can create, a job of 150,000. Okay, then why can't we add more to create more jobs? Look at the students we are turning out from our universities. Look at those from SHS. All right, how are we assisting? And you see, if you don't look at these directions, okay, and then we place partisan politics ahead of individual development and growth. I mean, lawyer, FDG,
yes,
we will still be coming here and we will still be talking IMF and PCI, and it will still amount to nothing.
But that's what the finance minister said. He's using 1.7 billion.
I understand that this is the first time the PCI has been implemented. And I give credit to the government.
No, but you see, you are the professor of all of us here. You are the professor. Exactly. You had the benefit of even teaching and policy prescription. I am saying that. The reason why this decision is a game changer is that in the past, there was an opportunity to do a PCI. We refused.
So opportunity to do what?
Result,
we had not even finished the program. We were in the program when we left office. How could we have signed up for PCI? We were on the program when we left office.
Program.
That is what you benefited from it.
Michael,
so what are you talking about? At what point do we have opportunity for
as
it is the first time?
At University of Ghana, 70% is A.
Any failure,
for the avoidance of that.
so
all right,
cost us a lot.
Because of what Ebola says, whoever accepted the PCI arrangement showed wisdom and foresight. That is Ebola.
No, it's a game changer. The MPP had the opportunity.
We had opportunity when?
Now,
we had the opportunity.
We were running the program and the program
the economy.
Then you said we should go for
Give us a haircut.
What do you understand by the PCI?
You gave us a haircut.
It's a policy coordination instrument. We had the
but can we safely say the policies have been solution-oriented, sustainable, and effective in terms of meeting the needs of society? We have policies that appear formulated and implemented without the necessary detail. We also get so political during evaluation that we are unable to properly update them and make them fail-proof. He continues, it's not about the exit of the IMF, but how effective the policies are, and the presence of the IMF just merely gives credibility to the government. Prince Nani Ayok says that Ghana has recorded significant progress over the past year. Let's now focus on creating jobs, introducing tax reforms to bring the informal sector into the fold, and plugging leakages at the ports. This will expand Ghana's economy and restore Ghana to greatness once again. Prince Nani Ayok. Mani Nimani says, we need to make Ato Forson the permanent finance minister, regardless of which party is in power. And then you said I should ask Sly Tete if the lady was lying. Oh, but he said he doesn't like that question. You people. Kofi Kwating Amanin Kukru says, don't mind Mr. Tete. He's doing post-facto rationalization. In my rural constituency, people, in fact, MPP members only go to business resource centers with their voter ID cards, and they were giving money. I don't know. He says it's not really.
I mean, to the extent that Dr. Bamian
and then Anthony Nupenu says, please tell Sly Tete not to come and distort any fact. The facts are clear. He shouldn't make. And then he says that his condolences to you. Apparently, you lost your.
Yes, I lost my mom.
My condolences to you. All right. Big issue is sponsored by the University of Gold Coast. Now, whether you're aiming for a specialized MBA in marketing, communication, operations, supply chain, HR, etc., they have best courses for you. If you're a worker or you have other activities you're undertaking, you still want to go to school, they make it feasible for you to do so. And then you can even pay your fees in a structured way in installments. So call them today. That's Gold Coast University on the line 026-388-8555. We will bring you the latest sports headline next. Thank you for joining us, gentlemen. Grateful to have you once again, especially to you, Mr. Tete. The Honorable Sylvester Tete. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.
I know, I figured. Mutala, we'll talk about this later. But Bill, let's focus on you. I mean, yesterday was a big deal. In fact, the entire weekend, a very busy weekend for the sports fraternity.
Yeah.
Give us some updates. Midiama FC.
Yeah, Midiama FC won the Ghana Premier League for this season. They are rolling with the big boys because they've won 2 of the last 5 Ghana Premier League seasons. That goes to show their dominance on the local scene. I mean, before we would talk about Hato Foko or Asante Kotoko, but these days it's Midiama, and they did that in style, defeating Pando Hearts of Lions by 5 goals to 2.
So Hearts and Kotoko didn't even make it to the finals?
Oh, no. I mean, it's a league. The league season, the top 2 were Midiama, BBN Gold Stars. They were fighting for it. It was a 2-point gap until yesterday, where BBN Gold Stars actually lost by 3 goals to 1 to Dreams FC, opening the door for Midiama they were supposed to play at the same time, but because of the rains, Mediama started later. And by the time they were about to start, there were indications that they had a very high chance of winning the league if they had won, because Dreams FC were leading BBNE Gold Stars at that point. So they've done it. It's a huge achievement for them. They get to play in the CAF Champions League next season. When it comes to the qualification, they do have to qualify for the group stages, but it's still a very big achievement for the side who are based in Takwa. And as you can see, the last 5 winners, Mediama have won 2 of the last 5. There's BBNE Gold Stars from last season, Samatex 2 seasons ago, and Asante Kotoko back in 2021-22.
So Hearts hasn't won. Okay, there's Hearts of Oak.
Oh, I mean, these are the teams with the most Ghana Premier League titles in history.
Okay.
Kotoko, of course, leads with 26. Hearts of Oak are second with 20. And we have Ashanti Gold with 4. Great Olympics with 2. Now Mediama themselves.
With 2 as
also
well.
with 2.
Mediama is competing with Olidade.
Oh, yes.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting. Well, big ups to the Media General Group and, of course, to APL, because I think that they brought back the love for the GPL. Because I was looking at the stadium, and you can tell that even there were a lot of people who had attended to watch the match as well. So that's some good news, right?
Yeah, I think the quality of coverage definitely improved big time. And a lot of people now had the chance to actually see what's been happening, because it was being showed on TV3. So big ups to APL. They did a massive job. We hope for more of the same or even better next season.
We hope so.
Yeah.
We hope so. Does the deal continue?
Yeah, we expect that deal to continue.
Okay. Well, congratulations to Mediama FC, and we wish them the best. I'm heartbroken that Hearts didn't go that far, but it's okay.
Oh,
we'll
are you
like that.
a Hearts of Oak supporter like
I'm
that?
gone. I mean, at this point, is
so
it that
both of you-
Great Olympics or Hearts, right?
I know what to do.
What are you going to do?
No.
What are you, though? Are you a
knows.
Kotoko fan?
Oh,
or
no. I'm an Ashanti Gold fan.
Ashanti Gold?
Yes.
Okay. Why Ashanti Gold, though?
Oh, I mean, I was born in Obuasi. My first ever live match was at the Linkley Sports
I
Stadium at
see.
6. So the love for Ashanti Gold is always
Interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about the Africa Senior Athletics competition. It
Yeah.
also ended over the weekend.
Yes.
You've been very busy with that as well.
Yeah.
Have you even rested?
6 days of
Non-stop.
intense work. Yeah.
How many eggs did you get? 1 or half? Just checking.
To be fair, I went to the dining hall.
Okay.
Yeah, during the week, and I actually spoke to some of the athletes. It was on air and all of that, and I think they actually listened to the concerns of the athletes and actually adjusted to them. So I think overall they did a very good job recovering from all the complaints.
So the complaints were real.
They were there.
Because I've heard from what's her name, the lady who was on the team as well, and she said even though some were honest complaints, we should discard a lot of the others because they weren't honest. What's her name?
I'm not. You mean Veronica Kome?
Veronica Kome, yes.
Right. So the thing is, there were South African athletes that were not pleased.
Because they got half egg or 1 egg.
He said 1 chicken.
1 chicken. I wasn't the egg. Okay.
Yeah, A.D. Smith. He happens to be a shot putter, and usually shot putters eat a lot of protein.
Yeah.
So I get where his complaints come from, but I think after day 2, where I got the opportunity to go to the dining hall, everything has improved drastically.
So from 1 chicken to how many pieces of chicken?
I mean, you can take
7.
You can take a lot.
Oh, you can. So did you have lunch, breakfast?
I did. I actually
How many
had,
pieces of chicken did you chew?
Oh, me, I don't want plenty. I'm not an athlete.
You are not answering the question. I said how many? You said me, I don't want plenty.
I chew 2.
Only 2?
Only 2.
You had
I'm not an athlete.
You had the laxity to chew as many pieces of chicken. You chose 2.
See,
why you fear?
See, the breakfast, I take plenty things. Sausages, eggs, salad. I took like a lot of
everything.
Yeah, everything. Some.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that was the report, basically.
Yeah. So that's your report.
Yeah.
So this time they were very happy with the food that was being served.
Of course. Of course. Even I think someone from Zimbabwe. He mentioned that they usually don't take spicy foods.
Yes. I saw that too.
So they actually told the organizers about it, and they adjusted.
But shouldn't we have been aware of all these issues before hosting them? Because you're getting people from different parts of the world. Obviously, they won't like our shit the way we like it.
Yes, that part is fair.
Or they might eat more. Like you said, a shot put, athletes would want more protein than the regular athletes or something. We didn't consider all these things before the competition started?
I don't know with them and their planning and all of that, of course, but I think I think sometimes you can't really please every single person because, mind you, it was about 49 countries coming. So many, with different specifications and all of that. You'd have
Do we get
adjust.
these complaints when we go to other countries?
Actually, yes.
Okay.
Actually, yes.
Okay.
I remember speaking to Alexa Mankwa on Saturday,
Mm.
live on air. He mentioned that at the World Athletics Championships level in Oregon in the USA in 2022, they were placed in a hostel without AC.
And it was summertime?
And yes, it was very hot. So it's not always perfect. I think it's not always perfect when it comes to competitions, but for them to actually adjust and do, the things right, and athletes ended up giving positive reviews, I think.
So we shouldn't hold their necks?
Oh, not too much.
Not too much, so we
no.
can, but not too much.
Yeah, you can. I mean, especially from the beginning, because...
Well, because the embarrassment was on a high.
Yeah, myself, I didn't get access to Wi-Fi at the beginning. The automatic starter clock wasn't working because I saw that. But from day 3, I must say...
everything.
Everything was fixed.
Was it because they're trying to save money, or what was the problem?
As for that,
I know you're in a precarious situation, so you cannot really talk about it.
It's up to them. I think that's up to them to actually explain.
Will they?
Eventually.
Is there a plan for a press conference or something?
Eventually.
Okay.
We are expected to get someone of a high rank later this week, so we will probably get answers from there.
Ask all the questions. We want to know. We want to understand.
Yeah.
Because you go on Twitter and you see people tweeting from different countries, and it's
Yeah.
really embarrassing.
Yeah.
You're not sure what's going on.
And even I got the heat for explaining something that was basically misinformation.
Oh.
Yeah, that had to deal with the poll votes.
Yes.
Yes. So I got to understand that athletes are supposed to be bringing their polls to compete because every athlete's weights are different. So that's standard practice in athletics competitions. But there was that narrative that it was Ghana who gave them the polls.
So that poll that broke,
it wasn't us.
We didn't give it to the athlete.
Nope.
He brought it from his country.
In fact, I got to understand that one athlete borrowed from another country's athlete. So actually,
is that the one that broke, or
one of those that broke?
I saw one guy who's.
It's not just one. Like a number broke.
Maybe it's the heat in Ghana. The poles are not made for our kind of weather. It's too hot for the poles.
Maybe.
So they gave up.
Yeah, but it wasn't a Ghana problem. I tried explaining on social media and I got
and
backlash.
They won't understand.
Yeah, so I mean it's.
But that's the thing, the PR.
Part of the job.
So beyond you, the sports journalist, trying to explain, because you weren't the only one who caught some flack for trying to explain. I saw other people who were being lambasted on social media. The PR team for the organizing committee, were they explaining some of these things actively on social media?
On social media.
Because the misinformation was a lot.
Okay, so what I remember happening was, I remember Veronica Comey gathered journalists to try and break down some things.
Okay.
And they also organized presses right after the events finished for the day to try and explain other things so that we could get it out. Because, I mean, the media is like the faster route to getting these informations out. So I remember about 2-3 presses were done.
Okay.
And then Veronica Comey spoke to us on the side to herself. So they were trying, their possible best to get the information out.
But overall, it was a good competition?
Yeah, it was a good competition.
Okay.
Yeah, but not really for Ghana. Ghana earned 5 medals in total. I think
out of how many medals
they could have earned a whole lot more. Let me just put it that way. By the time I checked, I think yesterday, Ghana was ranked about 17th on the medal table. That's not a good look.
They couldn't even make it to top 10.
No, that's not a good look at all.
Niger is in top 10.
Niger is there. But this would be fully updated by 12.
Okay.
This is as of now.
Okay.
But there will be like a full update before 12 p.m. today, and we'll see the final medal table. But as at the time I checked, Ghana was 17th with 5 medals. 1 silver, 4 bronze medals.
Who's Tenkwe? But what's the reason why we can't seem to win so many medals? Are we not training our athletes, and are we not giving them?
It's a number of things. It's a number of things, to be fair. For our 4x1, we expected them to win gold. There was no Azamati. That was one thing. I think the Ivory Coast guys also surprised a lot of people on the day as well.
Okay.
But I feel like they can still do better because our 4x1 is our stronghold.
We hope we can do better in subsequent competitions. But let's talk about Antoine Semenyo. What a weekend he's had.
That goal he scored at the FA Cup final.
It was beautiful.
I was at the stadium and then I watched the video. I was like, wow.
When you say you were at the stadium, I thought you
no.
found a way to teleport yourself.
No. Legon.
I was going to say, you were actually there?
No, Legon.
Okay.
Legon, when it all happened.
Yeah.
So like I checked the goal and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
This guy is really having himself a season. I personally believe that Gadiel should really make a push for him to be part of the CAF Player of the Year nominees. In fact, final 3. If he doesn't win it, I think if he has a decent World Cup campaign, he would have a really good shot because he's won 2 major titles with Manchester City. He scored 20 goals this season. That is very good numbers for an African in one of the biggest competitions in the world. And, I mean, he's going to play in the World Cup. So as far as Ghana goes and as far as he performs, that will give him a very good opportunity.
Yeah.
But that was a brilliant goal from him. He scored as City went on to win that FA Cup title. And although I'm happy for him, I hope City doesn't go on to win the Premier League. No,
Why?
Because I'm an Arsenal fan.
What's your problem? I was even going to say, how is Arsenal taking this? Because I saw comments where people were saying that Arsenal should have really signed Antoine Semenyo and they didn't do it.
Fair. I mean, they could have, but City did it in January.
Which is why they'll go on to win the
Premier League.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Is it oh no because you don't think they can, or oh no because you don't want them to and you're hating?
Today, we are going to deal with Burnley. When we are done.
You're speaking with him.
Oh, yeah. When we are done, then on the final day, we'll deal with Crystal Palace and take the league. Yeah.
I wish you luck.
Thank you.
You'll be here making noise. If you go and lose it, you'll be in trouble. But I saw a beautiful video of Antoine Semenyo also handing over his medal to his mom, and his fiancée was in the back as well. I thought that was really lovely.
Very. And I've realized that his fiancée is usually around him a lot. They put together cute pictures and videos. He's very attached to her and is attached to his family. So it's very beautiful to see.
Yeah, congratulations to them. And finally, quickly, let's move on to the Under-17 Africa World Cup of Nations in Morocco.
Yeah, didn't go well for Ghana. After the first game where they drew 2-2 with Algeria, there was hope that Ghana could do a good job against Senegal, but unfortunately they lost by a goal to nil. Ghana actually got a penalty but didn't score. So not looking good. They have one more game to play later in the week against South Africa. And they definitely need to win if they want to qualify to the knockout phases of the competition. So the pressure is definitely on Prosper Nati Ogumende's side.
And there was the FA Women's Cup as well.
Yeah, Hazakis ladies are winning that competition. It was 1-1 between them and Army ladies in regulation time, and the match went to penalties where Hazakis ladies won by 5-3. So a good one for them. Big win and a big trophy. I mean, earlier in the year, Ampem Dakwa won the main competition, and now they've won the Women's FA Cup.
Okay, well, Bill, thank you so much. We'll be seeing you at 10.
Yes.
Yes, for the extended sports conversation. Yeah, we'll be joining you to see. We have to investigate the chicken that you ate and why you didn't get Bill to eat all of it. Bill Eshan has been giving us some updates from the world of sports. Thank you for doing a great job. And hopefully we'll see you the rest of the week as well, so you can update us.
Yeah,
you're traveling?
Oh, no, I'm here.
You're not
I'm here with you.
I thought maybe you got your visa for World Cup, so you're going ahead of time to do some reports.
Are you going?
In some.
No, wait. The way you're speaking is like you are going.
I'm asking you, the sports journalist, a question.
No, I know I'm here.
What
but
am I
it
going
looks
to do
like
with
you
it?
are going.
No. Where am I going to pass to?
I've seen that anybody who comes to me to
on
ask.
On that note,
you are going.
Bill Eshan has been speaking to us, and he has promised that he will be coming to us from the US, Canada, and Mexico for the World Cup. So let's look for
That's not true.
We hope he hasn't been bounced the visa yet, because as it looks now, Charlie, if you get your visa, you have to go to church and do Thanksgiving.
Charlie, the bouncing people left, right, and center.
But we have the winners of PM Extra joining us shortly. This is TV3 Newday. Keep watching. We'll be right back. Thank you, Bill. Here with Papa Ro, and yes, we're heading over to Geneva at this point.
Well, certainly.
Yes, we're teleporting.
Yeah.
There's a lot that's been happening there with regards to the World Health Organization, and of course the assembly that's happening at the moment in Geneva. And our president was there to give a speech on a number of things concerning our health situation. And we'll be playing back what exactly he said. And hopefully we can speak to Komla Kluche, who is a man on the ground, to give us some more insight into it.
Well, straight away, let's have a recall. The president at the General Assembly of the World Health Organization.
Of the Swiss Federation, Dr. Victor Atala Lajam, President of the 79th World Health Assembly, Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, Director General of the World Health Organization, Honorable Ministers of Health, Heads of Delegation, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. We meet at the 79th World Health Assembly amid uncertainty, shifting global geopolitics, and deliberate assaults on the world's multilateral system have created doubts about the trajectory of global health cooperation and reform. 6 years after the last global pandemic, COVID-19, the world health architecture is changing rapidly. Overall humanitarian assistance is reported to have declined by 40%, and some of the largest Western economies have significantly cut their overseas development assistance. The World Health Organization's budget has been gutted by the withdrawal of U.S. assistance, forcing the organization to scale down programs and undertake steep staff retrenchments. In Ghana, health financing from bilateral and multilateral partners has significantly decreased since 2025. Ghana lost $78 million in health funding following the closure of U.S. aid programs. This money went mainly into malaria programs, maternal and child health, nutrition, HIV/AIDS programs, including testing and delivery of antiretroviral drugs. In South Africa, the abrupt withdrawal of PEPFAR funding has shut clinics, terminated gender-based violence programs, and left 1.4 million people living with HIV uncertain about their treatment continuity. And we're told that by 2030, 9 million preventable deaths could occur due to these shifts. It is estimated that the direct consequences of this aid suspension could push about 5.7 million Africans into poverty by the end of 2026. It is this gloomy outlook for the future of global health that prompted the convening of the African Health Sovereignty Conference, famously known as the Accra Reset, in August last year. It is against this backdrop that we meet at the 79th World Health Assembly. These troubling statistics are known, and we're not here to lament or wring our hands over them. We're here, among others, to decide whether the architecture we supervise is still fit for purpose. We're here to discuss how we can continue to save lives even in the face of adversity. And I stand here before you today in the second year of my new tenure as president, mindful that the mandate given to me by my people is not merely to administer, but to transform their lives. I come from a continent that has too often been the subject of global health policy rather than its author. Today I speak to you as one of the advocates of the Accra Reset Initiative, a movement born from the conviction that the old paradigms of dependency must give way to a new era of health sovereignty. These cuts in humanitarian assistance and ODA, as painful as they are, serve as the final clear signal that the old system of donor dependency is past its sell-by date. We're witnessing the end of an era, and we must have the courage to build the next one. We're contending with an international architecture that was understrain long before these cuts even occurred. We have more global health organizations than ever, and yet country-level fragmentation has worsened. We do not come to Geneva to mourn the past. We come to build a future where a country's health is not a byproduct of charity, but a result of sovereign capability. This desire to take our health destinies into our hands imposes important responsibility on us as African leaders. We must see health spending as an investment rather than just a social obligation, because a healthy population is indispensable to economic progress. As an advocate for African health sovereignty, I'm obliged to demonstrate this practically at home. And so in Ghana, we have moved beyond rhetoric to implement calculated, aggressive policies that place the citizen at the center of the clinical encounter. With one of the more successful national health insurance schemes in Africa, Ghana has an insurance coverage estimated at 66% as at the end of 2025. This still leaves about 34% of our population without coverage. Besides, the NHIS has been focused principally on curative care with very little attention to preventive care. To mop up the remaining population not covered by the NHIS, we have recently successfully begun implementing our free primary health care program. By removing financial barriers to the most basic and essential services at the rural level, we've ensured that our citizens in the remotest regions of our country also enjoy access to quality health care on par with their urban counterparts, with an eye on preventive care. And we're grateful that the WHO, led by Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, was among the first to congratulate us on achieving this significant milestone. Thank you, Tedros.
All right, so that's President John Dramani Mahama in Geneva this morning addressing the World Health Assembly and, of course, talking about what we're doing so far with regards to our healthcare infrastructure in Ghana and the system as well. Of course, financing. And he did say something that Ghana lost $78 million. Well, maybe we can go back. Maybe we can go back and listen to a lot more of what he has to say. Okay, we have Komla Kluche joining us live from Geneva, and he's speaking to us this morning. Hello, Komla.
Good morning to you, Bella.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us. I mean, I believe the president is done speaking now, but generally, how was his speech taken?
Yeah, he's done speaking now, and he's just taking the closing pictures with the WHO boss and then a contingent of Ghanaians who accompanied him in his thoughts over there. But generally, what the president has been talking about in terms of how it has been received, the sort of applause he had, and also the fact that right from the very outset of his administration, he was hit with the news of the withdrawal of the USAID, that $78 million that he spoke about, and the fact that he said we have to look for the money within us, and the country must look for the money within, which led to the Africa Health Financing Summit and Accra Initiative, the Accra Reset. These have been lauded by the WHO itself. The WHO boss has indicated that the leadership of the president, looking at what he's been able to do within the 1.5 years regarding health financing, has echoed throughout the walls of the WHO, irrespective of the fact that there's been substantial withdrawal of funds for health financing across the world. But to the extent that he says that there's a need to look within for the financing, and Africa must take upon itself how it would finance health or the health sector, is quite commendable. It's not an issue of they have just come for these meetings and after the issue of white paper, but they need to look for the solution and drawn from just their own thinking and how it will be able to go.
That's interesting. And in that sense, of course, we also want to understand that beyond what the president spoke about, who are some of the speakers as well, and generally, what has been the mood so far?
Well, the WHO boss, Tedros Ghebreyesus, also spoke, and he gave commendation to him and said the world at large needs to be able to look at the issues that confront them, especially with the withdrawal or the position of the United States as we speak now. How things have become, there's a need to relook at it. The president of Switzerland herself equally spoke and said that they believe in the WHO, and the fact that they believe that financing is a key side of sustaining health delivery across the world, and that they are committing about 269 million Swiss francs to the WHO to carry out its work as they progress for the incoming year. There's been a lot of talk also from other people who have made a point forcefully that just as the situation has become quite dire, it is an opportunity to launch a new approach. And a new approach would be for the WHO and also health to stand on its own and not only depend on the donor, the funds that come from the donors, which is no longer coming across board.
I see. So what's the schedule like for the president for the rest of today?
He's done now. He's heading back to the hotel, and in just about an hour or two, he would then go to the Accra reset. And the Accra reset is to continue this. That would also be addressed by the WHO boss. It's quite important to note that the president was the only, for want of a better word, the only head of state who spoke within the Palais des Nations, that is the UN building here. He was the only one, and he gave the keynote address. Other world leaders, about 3 of them, the president of Barbados, they sent in a video recording, about 3 of them. But the president, as a main speaker in a keynote address, was the only one in Africa who gave that. Let me just briefly speak to Dr. Samaya, who is part of Ghana's delegation here. Doc, briefly in about just a minute or two, for you, what's your takeaway from what the president has said so far?
Komla, we can't hear him, unfortunately. The sound is pretty bad, unfortunately.
His Excellency, the President.
Okay, unfortunately, Komla, we cannot hear him, and so we hope to cross over to you again much later, maybe for midday news, so you can give us that update. But thank you so much. Komla Kluche is with the president. He's part of the delegation, media delegation that accompanied him as he spoke at the World Health Assembly in Geneva, Switzerland. So that should be it.
Yeah. So an aggregation of everybody else within the international health fraternity, within the top echelons of the World Health Organization at that World Health Assembly, as it is.
Interesting. Anyway, so we're just about wrapping up. But before that, if it's your birthday today, a happy birthday to you. God bless you so much. And may he add many more years to your life. Good health as well for you. And we'll be wishing a few people happy birthday shortly. But this month, the World of Finance comes to Accra. So be part of the prestigious ACI World Congress Accra 2026. Delivering more than an experience. Over 500 global experts, innovators, and financial leaders from Africa, Europe, Asia, and beyond will gather to shape the future of capital markets, foreign exchange, investment banking, treasury, commodities, and risk management. Proudly co-hosted by the Bank of Ghana and supported by global partners including Bloomberg, London Stock Exchange, Ghana Stock Exchange, SGXFX, and Dutchy Borse Group through 360T. So join us from May 21 to 22, so 21st May and 22nd May at Kempinski Hotel, Gold Coast, Accra City. Gold Coast City, Accra. Enjoy insightful conversations, strategic networking, Ghanaian culture, and an elegant gala night experience. ACI World Congress Accra 2026, where global finance connects. Now it's time to celebrate birthdays. Before that, so attention all parents of first-year SHS boarding students. EduPack, the Ghana Education Service, approved and supported national SHS initiative implemented by Prospectus Ghana, is now in progress across Ghana. So parents across the country are already registering so that their children's trunk, Macintosh mattress, pillow, and plastic chop box will be ready and waiting at their school before reporting day. Do not delay and get caught in the usual last-minute market rush, carrying heavy items under pressure. With EduPack, your child does not need to travel to school with these 4 essential items. Register now by simply dialing *713*821#. Visit any ADB branch or go to www.edupackgh.com to make payments and keep your receipt. And you can present it on opening day to collect all your children's EduPack items. Your EduPack registration follows you to any SHS you are placed. So avoid the stress, avoid the rush, and prepare with confidence. All at a very affordable price. EduPack approved and supported by GS. For more information, call them on 0500 600 607. Again, 0500 600 607 or 030 2955050. EduPack, no stress, no wahala. Let's get into birthdays now. So if it's your birthday today, again, happy birthday to you. We're starting off with Millicent Agbevade, Comms and Public Affairs Department, Ghana Revenue Authority Head Office. God's blessings to you. Papa Ro?
All right. So we have Sandiama Santoa Riafe, more blessings from above from James Tete, and we have more birthdays coming up. Blessings Tete, wishing you a happy birthday from James Tete. Annabelle Uredu from Jennifer Jabing says that may the new year be filled with God's goodness. Happy birthday to you, Annabelle. Lydia Kusiado, you're celebrating your birthday, and Archibald Ado says that he's so grateful to walk this journey with you, and happy birthday to you, Lady Akusiado. Edith Opari Michelle, on this day, you're celebrated and make more memories. Letitia Tele Tete, Vapo Health Center, North Dine District, from Martha Amano and Nimanche. Happy birthday to you. Sharifa, my beautiful wife, God bless you and increase you on all sides. Stay blessed. Elizabeth Dogbe from the Agbozo family, God bless your new age. Beautiful. Also celebrating your birthday, all others whose pictures as well as names we don't have. But if you're celebrating your birthday today, happy birthday to you. And we have to call it a morning,
yes,
Bella.
Indeed. So thank you for joining us this morning, and we'll be back tomorrow.
Well, certainly.
As usual.
Same time.
But we have sports coming up right after this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching.
Bye-bye.